What's wrong? Morong Qingqing asked softly. Don't tell me you're going to fight again? The dark red divine dragon also said. Are you not going to the auction? I'm not going. Lin Xian shook his head, then walked in another direction. Seeing this scene, the surrounding warriors were also stunned. They did not understand why he was leaving. Was he not going to participate in the auction? No way, this auction is a treasure of the saint. Even the hall masters are interested in it. How can he not care about it? However, many people sneered. I guess he doesn't have any money on him. Instead of standing there and watching, he might as well leave quickly, so that he won't be laughed at. Hee, I guess he knows his death is coming. Even if he buys the treasure, it's useless. What, he must be afraid of our branch master. He can only kill ordinary disciples. If he really meets a top prodigy, he's nothing. Many people sneered, thinking that he was afraid. On the other hand, Lin Xian and the others left the auction house and came to a quiet place. Kid, you're really not going to the auction? The dark red divine dragon asked. The Tiannan region is very mysterious. Maybe some treasure will appear at the auction. It's a pity if you don't go. Indeed, one could find a white bone wood just by strolling on the streets. Who knew if there were other treasures at the auction? However, Lin Xian shook his head. There's no need to give money to the Black Dragon sect. They'll destroy it sooner or later anyway. It's better to just steal it. Kid, you want to fight? Hearing this, the dark red divine dragon's eyes lit up. Indeed, the Black Dragon sect is their target. There's no need to give money to them at the auction. We just need to wait for those people to get the treasure, then we'll snatch it. The dark red divine dragon was very excited. He then said, we need to send someone to the auction. Otherwise, we won't know who got the good stuff. Oh go. Luo Bingshan stood up. No need. It's a small matter. Just find someone, Lin Xian said. Ruffian dragon, bring someone from the Blood Fiend Hall back. The dark red divine dragon turned into a bolt of lightning and quickly brought someone back. The Blood Fiend Hall disciple's spiritual power was sealed by the dark red divine dragon, so he couldn't resist at all. When he saw Lin Xian and the others, he was so scared that his face turned pale. What do you want? If you dare to touch me, the Blood Fiend Hall will never let you go. The martial artist roared crazily. However, Lin Xian's soul power quickly surged out and pierced into the martial artist's soul, planting a beast slave mark on it. Suddenly, the ferocious Blood Fiend Hall disciple became abnormally quiet. Then he knelt down on one knee and respectfully shouted to Lin Xian. Greetings, master. Very good. Go to the auction. Remember the direction of all the treasures and report to me. Yes, master. The martial artist quickly left. On the other hand, Lin Xian and the others began to stroll around leisurely. On the other side at the auction, the elites of the various halls had all come to participate. Among them, the 5 top prodigies had arrived early and were invited to the VIP room. On the way, the pale-faced Ghostly, who was dressed in a black robe, met Bloodhand, who was dressed in a blood-red robe. He immediately laughed eerily. I heard that your people were beaten up yesterday. I wonder what you, as a branch leader, think about it. You wandering ghost, get out of my way. If you anger me, I'll cut you in half. Chapter 1370. On the way, Ghostly, who was dressed in a black robe and had a pale face, met Bloodhand, who was dressed in a blood-red robe. I heard that your men were beaten up yesterday. I wonder how you feel about that. You're a wandering ghost. Get out of my way. If you piss me off, I'll kill you. Faced with Ghostly's provocation, Bloodhand's voice was cold, and his blood aura surged. What? You want to fight me too? Ghostly sneered. However, Bloodhand snorted. I know what you mean. There's a blood soul stone in this auction. It's useful to both of us. Aren't you looking for trouble with me because of the blood soul stone? It's good that you know. Ghostly sneered. The blood soul stone is mine. If you dare to fight me, don't blame me for using the white bone banner to extract your soul. It's just a broken bone banner. If you piss me off, I'll kill you. Bloodhand's expression was ferocious. As for the blood soul stone, it's mine. If you have enough spirit stones, feel free to compete with me. With that, he snorted and left with the Blood Fiend clan. Ghostly's expression was cold, and his eyes shone with a terrifying green light. On the other side, Nangong Hao was also dressed in a robe. He was surrounded by the crowd. He looked around, but did not see Hua Wufeng. Where's Hua Wufeng? Why isn't he here yet? He asked in a low voice. Reporting to leader, Hua Wufeng left halfway and did not come to the auction. As for the reason, we don't know. Hearing that, Nangong Hao snorted. What a piece of trash. Since he's not coming, then forget it. Ignore him. He's about to die. It doesn't matter if he comes or not. There's a few spiritual herbs being auctioned this time. They're almost extinct. I must get them. Nangong Hao muttered to himself. His eyes were burning with passion. Then he led his men into the VIP room. After that, the Shadowless clan, Ravengale clan, Purple Demon clan, and other clans, as well as some sects and clans that had sided with the Black Dragon sect, all entered the auction. Soon the auction began. It was a half-earth step treasure right off the bat, and it immediately drew cries of surprise from everyone. This place wasn't like the Martial Heaven continent. Even these peak heavenly geniuses didn't have a half-earth tier treasure item. So as soon as that weapon appeared, everyone was attracted to it. From this point, it could be seen that although these people's cultivation bases had been raised by external forces, the Heavenly South region's overall level and resources were still lacking compared to the Martial Heaven continent. For example, half-earth tier treasure items were incomparably precious. But on the Martial Heaven continent, the peak families and sects still had quite a few. 1 million. As soon as the announcement was made, someone immediately made a bid. The bidder was the second leader of the Ravengale Hall. You want to buy a half-earth step artifact with just 1 million? What a joke. 2 million. The elite from Shadowless Hall sneered. 2 million. 2,400,000. Everyone began to bid, and the price continued to rise. If Lin Xian were here, he would definitely see that the price of a half-earth tier treasure item was at least 10 times higher than on the Martial Heaven continent. As expected, this kind of item was a rare treasure in the Heavenly South region. In the end, this half-earth tier treasure item was won by Shadowless Hall's Shadowless for 5 million. Everyone was incomparably envious, and quite a few people were terrified. The Shadowless Hall was originally a group of assassins. Their attacks were swift and fierce, and they were extremely strange. Now that they had a half-earth tier treasure item, they would become even more terrifying. Shadowless strength would also explode. Bloodhand frowned. To tell the truth, he was extremely envious of this half-earth tier treasure item. The power of this treasure item, combined with their Blood Fiend Hall's cultivation techniques, would definitely allow them to sweep through everything. However, because he wanted to compete for the Blood Soul Stone, he didn't use too much of his wealth. In the end, this treasure was won by Shadowless. Forget it. Although a half-earth tier treasure item is good, it can't compare to a Blood Soul Stone. As long as I can obtain a Blood Soul Stone, my strength will also greatly increase. Bloodhand snorted and closed his eyes to rest, preparing for the next auction. The following auctions were even more intense. There were several extremely precious spirit herbs among them. They were all won by Nangong Hao at an extremely high price. The price was extremely shocking, and at the same time, extremely envious. As expected of the Divine Pill Hall, they were extremely wealthy. Nangong Hao didn't even blink when he threw out so many spirit stones. These items were passed down from the Saint sect. They were all very precious, and attracted the attention of these elite martial artists. On the auction stage, a black-robed old man said loudly, "The next item is even more magical. Not only can it increase a martial artist's vitality, but it can also strengthen their soul force. It can be said to be incomparably magical." Hearing this, everyone cried out in surprise, and in the VIP room, Bloodhand sat up straight. He knew that the item he had been waiting for had finally appeared. On the other side, Ghostly also revealed a cold smile. His green eyes bloomed with a terrifying light. "The Blood Soul Stone is definitely mine." His voice was extremely sharp, carrying a sinister aura. Sure enough, in the next moment, the auctioneer continued, "This magical item is the Blood Soul Stone. Not only can the Blood Soul Stone increase a martial artist's vitality, but its blood can also strengthen soul force. It can be said to be an extremely rare treasure." Hearing this, the martial artists in the hall were all excited. They didn't expect to see such a creature in an auction. Everyone couldn't wait to participate in the bidding. Even Nan Gonghao's eyes were burning. As an alchemist, he also needed to strengthen his soul force. This blood soul stone was very useful to him. Not only him, but everyone wanted their vitality and soul force to be strong. Therefore, the blood soul stone was very attractive to everyone. Blood soul stone, starting price 10 million. Each increment must be no less than 1 million. The bidding starts now. As soon as the auctioneer finished speaking, the people in the hall became excited. 13 million, 15 million, 20 million, 24 million, 28 million. The price soared. 30 million. Let's see who dares to compete with me. A cold voice sounded, and everyone who heard it felt their hair stand on end. They knew that it was Ghost Li's voice. The ordinary martial artists shrunk their necks in fear. They didn't dare to compete with Ghost Li, and they didn't have so many spirit stones. As for the top geniuses, they weren't afraid of Ghost Li at all. 35 million. You don't need to scare me. I'm not afraid of you. Bloodhand snorted. 40 million. This kind of good item can only be used by us alchemists. It's a waste for others to use it. Nan Gonghao said proudly. Is that so? I don't think so. Soul force is just as important to us assassins. Shadowless voice also sounded. 45 million. 50 million. Ziyang didn't say anything. He only bid in a deep voice. Everyone is fighting so fiercely. I don't think there will be any results. Why don't you give it to me? In the future, if you want any beautiful slaves, just tell me. I guarantee you'll be satisfied. A delicate voice sounded. Chapter 1371. Pink Aristocratic Family. Someone exclaimed. Damn it, these women are here too. When did they come? Why didn't I know? Nan Gonghao frowned. Those who could make him feel this way must have a high status. Pink Aristocratic Family was a special force in the Tiannan region. After the Black Dragon sect was awakened, they submitted. Not only that, their status did not drop, but it was even higher than before. They were even valued by the Black Dragon sect's leader. This was because the Pink Aristocratic Family was full of women, and they were all beautiful women. They were proficient in all kinds of charming techniques. and were deeply loved by the higher-ups of the Black Dragon sect. The pink aristocratic family also worked hard to send their beautiful women
On the
to
other
the
hand,
experts of the various halls.
was giggling nonstop.
Until now,
Almost
as if she was
every
very
expert of the
satisfied
Black
with
Dragon
this outcome.
sect
Everyone
had a woman
was shocked,
from the pink
although they
aristocratic
had no
family
fate
by
with
their
the Blood
side.
Soul Stone.
It could be said
to be
that
able
the pink
to see such a
aristocratic
soul-stirring
family
auction
had completely
their trip
integrated
was not
into the
in
Black
vain.
Dragon sect.
After the Blood
They
Soul
were
Stone,
deeply rooted and
the
very
atmosphere in the
complicated.
auction house
No
dropped.
one dared to touch
But it was
them
still
easily.
very lively.
Even the Divine
After
Pill
all,
Hall did not
a
dare
magical
to provoke
treasure
the
like
pink
the Blood Soul
aristocratic
Stone
family.
was rare.
The two
There
women
was only
beside
one in
Blood
the
Hand
entire auction
previously
house.
were from the
Half
pink
a day later,
aristocratic family.
the highly
Even
anticipated
Nangong
auction
had
finally
women from
came
the
to an
pink
end.
aristocratic
However,
family.
the lively
Hence,
atmosphere did
everyone
not
knew
dissipate.
that although these women
the warriors
looked
in the
gentle
hall
on
were all
surface,
discussing
once they were
excitedly.
angered,
However,
they would
in the corner
retaliate
of the
like a
hall,
storm.
there was
Moreover,
a figure sitting there
no one could
quietly.
contend against
He didn't
them.
talk to anyone.
Hence, when everyone
as if he
heard
was
the
asleep.
pink aristocratic
He was the
family's
warrior
bid,
that Lin
most
Xian
of them
had
gave
planted
up.
a beast slave
Only a
seal
few
on.
sky prides
At that
and
moment,
extremely powerful martial artists
transmitted
were
the
still
scene of
bidding.
the auction to
However,
Lin Xian.
gradually those
Soon
experts
Lin
could
Xian
not
received
hold on.
the information.
Only the pink
He quickly
aristocratic
browsed
family,
through it.
Nangong
Then the
Hao
corner of
Blood
his mouth
Hand,
curled
and
up,
Ghostly were left,
revealing a satisfied
100
smile.
million.
Lin
cold
Xian
voice
was indeed
sounded.
very satisfied.
Ghostly was expressionless.
He didn't expect that
He
a
was
good
no
item
longer
would
as
appear in
relaxed
this
as
auction.
before.
It was the Blood Soul
110
Stone.
million. It could
Blood
increase
Hand
blood
gritted
his
his and
teeth.
soul power at
However,
the same time.
he was determined
to be
to
honest,
get the Blood Soul
he had never
Stone.
seen such an item
130
before.
million.
If he could get his
Nangong
hands
Hao
on this
snorted.
item,
His
it would be
expression
of
was
great
very
help
cold.
to his cultivation
Even if
of
the
the
Divine
Furious
Pill Hall
Dragon
was
formula.
rich,
They could
and the
not
Sky
afford
Spill
such
visualization
expenditure.
picture.
After all,
Therefore, he
100
decided to
million
make a
was
move.
not a small amount.
Not only that, other than the Blood Soul
it
Stone,
seems like you guys are
Lin
still
Xian
unwilling
also
to
found
give
a
up.
few supreme
150
spiritual
million.
herbs
And
the
some other
coquettish
item.
voice sounded again.
Since he was going to
It
make a
seemed
move,
like she did not
he might
care
as well
about
go
the spiritual
big.
stones
Lin
at all.
Xian decided to
Hearing
snatch
this
everything in the
the
auction
crowd
house.
was shocked.
After
Too
all,
strong.
they were all from the
Compared
Black
to the
Dragon
five
religion.
geniuses,
The
snatching
pink
one or
aristocratic
two
family
made no
was even
difference to him.
stronger.
Therefore,
This was because
in the
the
next
5
moment,
great
he
sky
summoned the
prides
little
were
white
directly
monkey
under their respective
Wuji,
halls.
Wuji, the little white
and
monkey
each hall
cried out
was in a
happily.
hostile state.
Then it took out
However,
a small
the pink
shabby
aristocratic
bowl and
family
started
was
to
different.
cast a spell.
They had already
Whoosh.
infiltrated
Soon,
each hall.
there were a few
To put
more
it bluntly,
spiritual herbs in the
behind
bowl.
every
They
expert
were all
stood a woman
extremely
from the
precious
pink
spiritual
aristocratic
herbs.
family.
On the other
Therefore,
side of the
behind the
auction
pink
house,
aristocratic
Nangong
family
Hao cried
was
out
the
in
entire Black
surprise
Dragon
because he
sect.
found that the
Therefore,
supreme grade
the pink
spiritual
aristocratic
herbs he had
family's
just bought
financial
were gone.
resources
How is
could
this
be said to
possible?
be very strong.
Nangong Hao
After
was
a round
shocked.
of fighting,
Who dares to
Nangong
attack
Hao
me?
Blood Hand
Get out here!
and Ghostly all
His nerves
retreated
were
in
twisted
defeat.
as he roared
The
crazily.
pink family's
He was
Yuluosha
really
had
angry.
already won the Blood
As the
Soul
second
Stone
branch
for
leader of
200
the
million.
Divine Pill Hall,
And a top
Nangong
genius.
Hao snorted.
No
his
one
face
had ever
gloomy.
dared to attack
Ghostly's
him.
expression
Now
was
someone
also
dared
cold.
to snatch his
The green
spiritual
light in his
herbs.
eyes kept
This was
flickering
definitely
like
a
two
blatant
balls of ghost
provocation.
fire.
However,
Pink
what
aristocratic
made him
family
even more
Yuluosha
furious
was
you
that
better
he
not
didn't
fall
even see
into
who
my
it
hands.
was. How did he do
Otherwise,
it? I will
what's
refine
wrong?
your soul
What's
into
going
the
on?
most terrifying
The
evil
surrounding
spirit.
martial artists
In another
were also
VIP room,
confused. Blood
they
Hand's
only
face
saw
was also
Nangong Hao
filled
being
with
stunned
killing
for a
intent.
moment before he
A sea
roared
of blood
angrily.
formed around
Who
him,
dares to provoke
dyeing the
Nangong
entire
Hao?
room red.
Are you kidding
If
me?
the other party
Who dares
wasn't
to
from the
provoke
pink
him?
aristocratic
Do they
family,
want to die?
he would have already
Then why
charged
is he
over
so
with
angry?
his saber.
Who knows?
He thought that his biggest
Everyone
enemy
shook
during
their
the fight
heads.
was Ghostly.
They didn't understand
However,
what was going
he didn't
on.
expect that
On
the
the
final
other
winner
side,
wasn't him or
Shadowless from the
Ghostly,
assassination
but the
hall
pink
snorted and
aristocratic
shook his
family.
head. He couldn't figure out what was wrong with Nangong Hao. It was really embarrassing for him to lose his composure like this. After receiving the half-Earth class artifact from the Elder, Shadowless left with the people from the assassination hall. Chapter 1372. Because the half-Earth rank treasure he had just obtained was gone. It was indeed gone. It was as if it had disappeared into thin air. How is this possible? Shadowless was shocked. He quickly scanned his surroundings, but found no one around him. Who is it? Get out here. Shadowless' expression was cold. A trace of ferocity finally appeared on his expressionless face. Murderous aura surged from his body and instantly pierced through all directions. Feeling this murderous aura, the surrounding warriors all exclaimed and retreated crazily. They did not expect Shadowless to go crazy and release such a murderous aura. Crazy? This is really crazy. First it was Nangong Hao, now it was Shadowless. What were they doing? No one could understand why the top prodigies had gone crazy. On the other side, Bloodhand and Ghostly also snorted coldly. Both of them were in a bad mood. They did not obtain the Blood Soul Stone. Although they had obtained other treasures, they were still very unhappy. At this moment, seeing Shadowless and Nangong Hao go crazy, they sneered. However, in the next moment, both of their expressions changed. This was because they discovered that the treasures they had just won had also disappeared. Now they finally knew why Nangong Hao and Bloodhand went crazy. The same thing must have happened. Strange, it was really strange. No one had made a move, but their treasures had disappeared into thin air. There's a peerless expert. Bloodhand's face was terrifyingly gloomy. His murderous aura condensed and was about to explode. Ghostly's expression was also ferocious. His green eyes bloomed with a terrifying light. Impossible, no matter how powerful a warrior is, he can't escape our detection. But we didn't find anything. This means that it's not what we think at all. But what method is it? These prodigies really could not understand. In the next moment, there were more exclamations. It seemed that those people's treasures had mysteriously disappeared. Among them, there was one voice that was the sharpest. It was a woman's voice. It was so shrill that it seemed to pierce the entire sky. Ah, damn it. Who is it? Who dares to take my Blood Soul Stone? Don't let me find you, or I'll tear you into pieces. What? The Blood Soul Stone is missing? Hearing this, the surrounding people were shocked. Thinking back to how those Sky Prides had gone crazy, they finally understood what had happened. Could it be that someone had stolen all the treasures they had won? From the looks of it, it was possible. Otherwise, these people would not be so crazy. But how was that possible? They were all top-notch experts, who could snatch away the treasure in front of them. And from the looks of it, they didn't seem to have discovered who the enemy was. Everyone was stunned. It was as if they had seen a ghost. Because this matter was simply too strange. The people in the auction house naturally knew about it, so they decided to quickly seal off the entire auction house and investigate carefully. However, no matter how much he investigated, there were no results. There was only a group of Sky Prides whose faces were terrifyingly dark. On the other side, Lin Xian looked at the pile of treasures on the ground and laughed loudly. The little white monkey kept yawning and rubbing its eyes. It seemed that it was very tired. It seemed that seizing so many treasures this time must have consumed a lot of its energy. Lin Xian generously gave him a pile of top-grade spirit fruits and hurriedly let the young man rest. The little white monkey hugged the pile of spirit fruits, turned into a white light, and entered the demonic beast pouch. Lin Xian took out a few stalks of spirit herbs and a blood-red stone from the pile of treasures on the ground. These spirit herbs were not bad and were somewhat useful to him. And this blood-red stone was the most precious. It was the Blood Soul Stone, which could increase blood chi and soul power. As for the other items, although they were also treasures, Lin Xian did not care about them. He just casually put them away. This is the Blood Soul Stone. The dark red dragon was shocked. It did not expect another treasure to appear at the auction. Morong Qingqing also exclaimed. Then she said slowly, "This Blood Soul Stone is indeed precious. Even if the Morong family has it, they don't have much. I only got a little on my birthday in the past. I didn't expect you to be so lucky." Lin Xian was also very excited. With the Blood Soul Stone, his Furious Dragon mantra and Sky Spill visualization image would definitely improve. Let's go back. I think those guys are going crazy." The dark red dragon was also excited. Hee, should we send them a message? Of course. I'm waiting for them to come to me. If I don't send them a message, how will they know that I did it? Hence, Lin Xian kept laughing along the way. The items at the auction were really good. This was a great harvest. Anyway, they were all extremely arrogant words. Soon, these words spread to the ears of the Sky Prides. In the auction, Nangong Hao Bloodhand, Gui Li Shadowless, Ziyang Pink Family, and many other elite warriors were gritting their teeth. Although they did not see it with their own eyes, from the reports of their subordinates, this matter was definitely related to Hua Wufeng. It was even possible that he was the one who did it. This was because he did not even come to the auction. How could he know what was going on at the auction and say such things? Wasn't this obviously a provocation? Hua Wufeng, how dare you steal from me? I'll tear you into pieces. Nangong Hao's expression was cold. He had never suffered such a loss before. Bloodhand's expression was ferocious. The sea of blood on his body surged, emitting a bloody stench. Gui Li also had a ferocious smile on his face. His green eyes were emitting a very strange light. Like Bloodhand, he was determined to get the Blood Soul Stone. Originally, he thought that the two of them had no hope after it fell into the hands of the Pink family. However, he did not expect the situation to take a turn. Although they had dropped many treasures, the Blood Soul Stone had also been dropped. Moreover, from the current situation, it seemed that Hua Wufeng had stolen it. This was undoubtedly good news for them. If they could snatch the Blood Soul Stone from Hua Wufeng, it would be theirs. There was no need to return it to the Pink family. Thinking of this, Gui Li laughed coldly. He looked like an evil spirit. However, the others could not laugh at all. Their faces were gloomy, as if they were about to kill someone. Especially the Pink family. They were so angry that they stomped their feet. Their status was so high that no one in the entire Black Dragon religion dared to offend them. However, someone dared to steal from them. This was too audacious and intolerable. Hua Wufeng, right? No matter how capable you are, no matter who you are, you're dead for daring to find trouble with the Pink family. Chapter 1373. The southern wilderness ancient town naturally received the news as well. Hence, the order was passed down. The martial artists and elites of the various halls could attack, but they were only allowed to attack Hua Wufeng. They were not allowed to implicate others. Hearing the news, the prodigies and elites all revealed sinister smiles. Soon, a few of them gathered together and began to discuss. Although they were enemies before, they now had a common enemy, and that was Lin Xian. What do you guys think? Do you plan to attack directly? Nangong Hao asked, looking like a leader. Hearing that, Blood Hand said coldly, I don't have to attack directly to deal with him. Ghostly sneered. Tomorrow is the octatic treasure chest game. It's not good to exhaust our strength tonight. However, I'll send my strongest subordinates to kill that kid. The others nodded. They would all send their elite troops to assassinate Hua Wufeng. However, they would not attack personally, because tomorrow was the octatic treasure chest game, which was extremely important to them. Because tomorrow would decide the ownership of the mysterious crystal. Compared to the blood soul stone, the mysterious crystal was more attractive. One had to know that the blood soul stone could increase one's vitality and soul, while the mysterious crystal could directly increase a martial artist's cultivation. Their cultivation had been raised that way, so they naturally knew how magical the mysterious crystal was. Nothing could be compared to the mysterious crystal. Everything had to make way for the mysterious crystal. Hence, these people would not attack before the octatic treasure chest game. However, they would not let Lin Xian go either. Pink family, Yu Luosha, the most outstanding disciple of the younger generation. At that moment, her face was pale as she said coldly, no matter what you decide, the blood soul stone is mine. Whoever dares to fight with me, don't blame the Pink family for being merciless. Hearing that, the prodigies and elites did not speak, but Blood Hand snorted coldly. Ghostly also laughed sinisterly. It seemed that the two of them did not care about the Pink family's warning. Alright everyone, let's talk about how to deal with Hua Wufeng. What's there to talk about? He's just an arrogant kid. If we really attack, I can destroy him with one hand. Blood Hand snorted with disdain. Ghostly also smiled coldly. I really want to do it. I'll extract his soul and merge it into my white bone banner. This way, my chances of winning tomorrow will increase by a lot. But to be honest, that kid shouldn't be easy to deal with. If he really wants to fight, he should be able to last 10 moves from me. But he's too strange. I won't risk tomorrow's game on the island. Tomorrow is the last day of the Dark and Light Conference, and also the most crucial day. At that time, the Azura Hall's army will arrive, and our respective Vice Hall masters will also arrive. That's a truly terrifying expert. I'm afraid that even the city lord of the southern wasteland ancient town would have to take him seriously. Even if this brat can live past today, he will definitely die tomorrow, Ziyang said in a deep voice. That makes sense. Nangong Hao nodded. Then I'll send out a nameless elite fire element martial practitioner. I will let him know the consequences of provoking my divine pill hall. Leave the assassination to me. Shadowless was expressionless, but his eyes were filled with murderous intent. I will also send out 5 elites. I will also send out capable generals. Voices rang out one after another. Soon, the various halls and powerhouses would send out their elites to surround and kill Lin Xian tonight. Cold moon, lonely star. The night was very quiet, very quiet. Lin Xian sat in his room, took out the blood soul stone, and carefully examined it. It was a blood soul stone the size of a goose egg. Its surface was very smooth, blooming with a crimson light. It felt very warm to the touch. As long as he held it, he could feel the energy inside. If he absorbed a little bit, he could feel his blood qi and soul strengthening. Good stuff, it was definitely good stuff. Lin Xian was very happy with this blood soul stone. His furious dragon incantation and sky spill visualization chart would definitely reach a higher level. However, he didn't immediately start cultivating. Instead, he frowned slightly. This was because he sensed that dozens of auras were quickly approaching. These people's auras were very powerful and fast. There were even assassins hidden in the air. There was no need to think. It was those geniuses who made their move. At the same time, he also sensed that Morong Qingqing and Rua Bingshan in the room next to him also wanted to make a move. Hence, he quickly sent a voice transmission. The two of you can sleep peacefully. Leave the rest to me. Then, Lin Xian took a deep breath and disappeared from the room. The next moment, he arrived at the roof of the Drunken Immortal Inn. Lin Xian stood quietly at the highest peak with his hands behind his back. He looked up at the cold moon, as if he was waiting for something. Buzz! Suddenly, a blood-colored saber light lit up from the void. It was like a blood-colored lightning bolt, carrying violent energy as it quickly slashed towards Lin Xian's neck. This saber was very sudden and very fast. It was extremely fast. Even a ninth heaven supremacy wouldn't be able to dodge it. One could imagine that the one who attacked was definitely a peerless swordsman. Also, judging from the violent aura, it should be someone from the Blood Fiend Hall. If someone else was here, they would definitely exclaim in shock. This was because the one who attacked was Blood One Saber. He only needed one strike to kill someone, so he was called Blood One Saber. At the same time, 3 cold lights lit up behind him. 3 long swords were like venomous snakes, exuding a sinister aura as they silently pierced towards him. They were aimed at the middle of Lin Xian's back. If he was hit, he would definitely die immediately. There were also countless ghostly figures in the surroundings that quickly pounced towards him. Countless streaks of fire appeared in the sky, forming a fiery dragon that roared at him. Below his feet was a pink fog that quickly condensed into 2 palms that grabbed his legs. These attacks were all formed in an instant. It could be said that there was an inescapable net, and it was definitely a sure kill. This was a sure death situation. This situation could make any ninth heaven supremacy despair. However, Lin Xian looked at these attacks and didn't seem to make a move. He stood with his hands behind his back, as if he didn't see them. When these attacks were about to land on him, a smile appeared on his face. The corners of his mouth finally curled up in a cold smile. In the next moment, an extremely terrifying cold aura exploded from his body and quickly spread out in all directions. In an instant, it enveloped the entire space. That cold aura was so cold that it instantly froze the entire space. Countless streaks of ice quickly spread from Lin Xian's body. The blood-red saber light in front of Lin Xian suddenly stopped and hung in midair. That saber light was covered by countless streaks of ice, forming a layer of frost. Not only that, but the 3 Han Jingguang behind him were also instantly frozen. The sea of fire above him, the fog below him, the hidden weapons and ghostly figures in the surroundings, and the boundless sea of blood were all frozen at this moment. Chapter 1374. The blood-colored saber light in front of Lin Xian suddenly stopped and hung in midair. The saber light was wrapped in ice, forming a layer of frost. Not only that, but the three Han Jingguang behind him were also instantly frozen. The sea of fire above him, the fog below him, the hidden weapons and ghosts around him, and the boundless sea of blood were all frozen at this moment. This scene was very strange. It was like a blue painting that was slowly unfolding. It was not just these attacks. The surrounding cultivators who had attacked were also forced out of the void by this blue frost. They did not even have the chance to escape before they were frozen by the frost and turned into ice sculptures. The one who had attacked was a handsome young man. He was dressed in a blood-colored robe, and his black hair was coiled on his head with a fork. He held a blood-colored demonic saber in his hand that shone with a demonic light. His originally bloodthirsty eyes were now filled with fear. He was an elite of the Blood Fiend Hall Bloody Dao. However, he was now frozen. Behind him was a black-robed assassin. He had short black hair and looked very ordinary. If he was thrown into a crowd, he would not attract anyone's attention at all. This was an assassin from the assassination hall. He was very ordinary, but his attacks were very sharp and could kill with one move. However, even such a terrifying assassin was now frozen. On his left and right were two middle-aged men with pale faces and ferocious expressions. They held two ghost streamers in their hands, and the surrounding ghosts were released by them. These two people were surrounded by countless ghosts. They did not look like humans at all, but like demons that had crawled out of hell. They were the elites of the malicious ghost hall. However, they were now even more terrified than if they had seen ghosts. This was because they could not move at all. Their bodies were completely frozen. Below them was a beautiful woman. She was wearing very little clothes, and her eyes were even more seductive. She exuded a dazzling aura, but at this moment, she was filled with fear. This was a woman from the pink aristocratic family. Below her were two elites of the Divine Pill Hall. They were both fire-type elites, and had strange flames in their hands. They could easily defeat a ninth heaven supremacy. However, they could not melt the ice on their bodies. These people were the elites of the various halls. Every one of them could strike fear in countless people. However, they had gathered together to kill Lin Xian. This was an extremely powerful lineup. Even those top prodigies might not be able to escape. But now, they were instantly frozen by Lin Xian. They still maintained their attacking postures, and even the hideous smiles on their faces were still present. However, the expressions in their eyes had changed. Each and every one of them was incomparably shocked and terrified. How is that possible? How is this possible? They couldn't believe that someone could freeze all of them in an instant. What kind of method was this? Perhaps even their masters, those peerless geniuses, couldn't do it. At this moment, their hearts were filled with fear because they realized that they had indeed underestimated the young man before them. Lin Xian looked around. So many experts and elites. This is a sure kill situation. Unfortunately, you found the wrong person. As he spoke, he strode forward. Peng. Lin Xian took a step forward, as if he were taking a leisurely stroll. However, Bloodblade suddenly widened his eyes. His eyes were filled with endless fear, because he found that his body was trembling uncontrollably. The qi and blood in his body were surging. The moment Lin Xian's foot touched the ground, his body exploded with a loud bang. In the end, only his head was left. However, in the next moment, the ice on his body released an endless terrifying aura, and completely sealed the head. In an instant, the terrifying Blood Fiend Hall expert, the awe-inspiring Bloodblade, was killed. Seeing this scene, those people's minds went blank. They could not believe it. One step. With just one step, the terrifying Bloodblade was killed just like that. What kind of method was this? They could not believe it. However, they did not have time to think, because Lin Xian took a second step. Peng. The body of the assassination hall assassin behind him also exploded, turning into countless ice shards. With the third step, the peerless Bowtie's body cracked open. Her face was filled with fear. With the fourth step, countless cracks appeared on the bodies of the two vengeful spirits hall martial artists on her left and right, as if they had been eaten by countless hungry ghosts. With the fifth step, The two peerless experts of the Divine Pill Hall turned into ashes and no longer existed. Throughout the entire process, Lin Xian did not move at all. With just 5 steps, the terrifying experts around him were wiped out. In the entire void, only some ice shards were still floating. What? This is impossible. How did he do it? What kind of method is this? How can it be so terrifying? These people were not the only ones who came to assassinate. At this moment, there were countless experts hidden in the surroundings. However, when they saw the scene before them, they were all stunned. Ice. He's an ice-based martial artist? How is this possible? Isn't he a lightning-based martial artist? Heavens, he's a dual-based martial artist. Damn it, this guy hid too well. Everyone was horrified. They realized that they had underestimated the youth in front of them. Lin Xian's lips curled into a cold smile as he walked forward step by step. The surrounding martial artists trembled and retreated. However, suddenly the scene around them changed drastically. It was no longer a starry sky, but a sea of knowledge hell. As for Lin Xian, he was suspended in mid-air by chains formed by countless bones. His limbs were pulled apart, and his entire body was suspended in mid-air. In front of him, countless bone swords, spears, and swords slashed his body ruthlessly. In an instant, his body was torn apart, revealing eerie white bones. Fresh blood flowed out, and the pungent smell of blood made one vomit. It seemed that Lin Xian would not survive. Lin Xian frowned. However, in the next moment, he revealed a disdainful sneer. The illusion technique is very realistic. If it were any other ninth heaven supremacy, they would probably have died under this illusion technique. However, this is useless against me. He snorted coldly, and a low dragon roar came from within his body. The surrounding mountains of bones, blood, and corpses exploded instantly. In the next moment, the horrifying scene around them returned to normal. Lin Xian was still standing in midair with his hands behind his back. In front of him was an old man in a purple robe. He spat out a mouthful of blood and looked at Lin Xian in horror. Impossible. How could you break through my illusion technique so easily? He was extremely shocked. This old man was from the Purple Demon Hall, and he had also used the Purple Demon illusion technique. This illusion technique was extremely terrifying. Moreover, he was a ninth heaven supremacy. If he was hit by his illusion technique, even someone one realm higher than him would not be able to escape. However, Lin Xian had broken through his illusion technique in the blink of an eye. This directly overturned his understanding. However, Lin Xian's lips curled up. To be able to use such an illusion technique, it means that your soul power is definitely not weak. Chapter 1375. Hearing Lin Xian's words, the elder of the Purple Demon Hall was stunned. However, his expression changed drastically in the next moment. He was extremely terrified. This was because he felt an extremely terrifying soul power rushing towards him. This soul power formed an invisible spear that was extremely terrifying. It instantly pierced into his mind. In the next moment, the purple-robed elder held his head and screamed in pain. He kept rolling on the ground. Pain. It was really too painful. It was 10 times, no, 100 times more painful than being injured by a sword. This was the collision of soul power. He did not expect the other party's soul power to be so terrifying that he could not fight back at all. Now he finally understood why the other party could break his illusion so easily. It was because the other party's soul power was more than 10 times stronger than his. He had never seen such soul power before. Even their hall master did not have it. Who was this mysterious young man? Was he really the disciple of the third guardian? But how was that possible? The elder of the Purple Demon Hall did not believe it at all. This soul power was too terrifying. It had probably surpassed the venerable realm. He did not believe that the third guardian could teach such a disciple. He wanted to spread the news, but the terrifying soul power pierced through his soul. In the next moment, his eyes widened and his soul completely disappeared. Plop! The purple-robed elder's body landed on the roof. His eyes were wide open, but his pupils had already lost their luster. What? What happened? The surrounding warriors were shocked. They did not know what had happened because they realized that the purple-robed elder was not injured at all. However, there was no sign of life in him. These people sucked in a breath of cold air and looked at Lin Xian as if he was a monster. They knew that there was only one explanation for this, and that was that the souls of these elders were gone. They had been killed. Was this young man also a soul expert? The last 6 surviving martial artists were terrified. However, they had still received the order. Therefore, even if they were terrified, they had to attack. In the next moment, the 6 of them roared and quickly burned their spirit power. They exploded with their strongest attack power and charged towards Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian waved his hand. Instantly, countless icicles bloomed in the air. With a terrifying chill, they quickly pierced towards the 6 people. This was not the most terrifying thing. What was even more terrifying was that these martial artists felt the blood in their bodies instantly solidify, forming sharp icicles that pierced out from the inside. In an instant, their internal organs and meridians were severely injured. In addition to the icicles outside, everyone was pierced with holes. Countless icicles protruded from their bodies, and their blood quickly coagulated. Ugh! The 6 of them opened their mouths wide, wanting to say something, but before they could make any sound, they fell to the ground. A cold wind blew and whistled. The entire world fell into silence once again. Only the cold moon in the sky emitted a cold light. In an instant, the elite martial artists sent out by the various halls were all killed. However, Lin Xian did not leave. He narrowed his eyes and looked to the left. Then he said coldly, "You've been watching for a long time. Come out obediently. Do you want me to make a move?" Hee, what a sharp soul power. You can actually detect our presence. A delicate laugh was heard. Then, the void fluctuated and a fiery red light quickly appeared. In the next moment, 2 beautiful figures appeared in the void. It was a man and a woman. The woman was wearing a long white dress and had a beautiful face. The man was wearing a black robe and had a cold expression. The 2 of them stood together as if they were a couple. "Kid, I have to say that you're very powerful. You can actually kill so many experts in an instant. No wonder they invited me over. However, it's a pity that you met us. No matter how powerful you are, you won't live past today," the woman said in a delicate voice. Lin Xian sneered. "More than one person has said this to me. However, I'm still alive and well." As soon as he finished speaking, he waved his finger gently. Suddenly, numerous icicles formed and quickly pierced in their direction. Poof! In the next moment, 2 icicles pierced through the bodies of the 2 people in front of him. However, Lin Xian furrowed his brows. It wasn't as he had imagined. Although their bodies had split open, there was no blood spurting out. There was even a disdainful smile on their faces, as if they were mocking Lin Xian. Whoosh! Whoosh! The two icicles pierced through the two people's bodies and flew into the void. Their bodies quickly healed and finally became as good as new. You're too naive. You can't kill us with this method. The black-robed young man sneered in disdain. Lin Xian frowned. Physical attacks are ineffective. This means that you're in a soul state. In the next moment, his soul power gushed out and formed two long swords that slashed forward. Whoosh! Whoosh! The soul power long sword slashed forward and hit the two people. However, they didn't cause any substantial damage. Don't waste your energy. You can't find where our souls are. So your soul power is useless in front of us. The woman in white laughed. Whoosh! Lin Xian didn't say anything. His body instantly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already behind the two people. Two streaks of sword chi appeared in his palms and quickly enveloped the two people in front of him. Suddenly, the two people in front of him were cut into dozens of pieces by the sword chi. However, the two people were still laughing. They were even mocking him in disdain. The places where their bodies had been split apart turned into countless black and white flames, which then quickly connected with each other. In the end, their bodies recovered once again. Don't waste your energy. We have the fire spirit body. We have no shape or form. You can't kill us at all. The black-robed man said in disdain. Fire spirit body. Lin Xian frowned and didn't attack again. Indeed, he could feel the power of fire from the two people. Moreover, the two people didn't seem to be humans. They were creatures that were born after the mutation of fire. You're from the Divine Pill Hall? Lin Xian frowned and asked. In the Black Dragon religion, only the people from the Divine Pill Hall had fire. You guessed wrong again. We're not from the Divine Pill Hall. We were invited by Pink Family's Yuluosha. Pink Family? Yuluosha? Lin Xian was puzzled. You don't know? The black-robed man snorted coldly. It's fine if you don't know. Dead people don't need to know so much. Kid, quickly hand over the Blood Soul Stone, and it'll give you a quick death. Otherwise, it'll let you burn in the fire, and make you suffer a fate worse than death. Blood Soul Stone? I see. Lin Xian suddenly understood. He then sneered. Just two fire spirits. How dare you threaten me? You're courting death. You think I can't kill you just because you have no shape or form? Kid, you're too naive. You don't know how powerful we are. The black-robed man snorted. The white-robed woman smiled sweetly. Although we know you have ice, from the aura just now, you can't freeze us. Chapter 1376. Brat, you're too naive. You don't know how powerful we are. The black-robed youth snorted. The white-clothed woman smiled sweetly. Although we know you have ice, from the aura just now, it can't freeze us. Brat, do you know what kind of flame we are? The black-robed youth said proudly. In the Black Dragon flame. It's evolved from the flame on the founder's body. How can a puny human like you compare to me? Kneel down and hand over the Blood Soul Stone. Black Dragon flame? No wonder it's so familiar. Lin Xian whispered. He felt a familiar flame aura from the black-robed man. But he didn't expect it to be from the founder of the Black Dragon religion. He had once used the Black Dragon flame before, but he had abandoned it later on. The black flame he was using now was the dark sky black flame. A flame even more terrifying than the Black Dragon flame. Since they were both flames, the dark sky bird was even more terrifying than the founder of the Black Dragon religion. Her flame couldn't be compared to his black flame martial soul. Understanding all of this, a smile crept onto Lin Xian's lips. He looked at the white-clothed woman again and asked, if he's the Black Dragon flame, what kind of flame are you? The Black Dragon flame doesn't have white flames, right? Of course I'm not the Black Dragon flame. The white-clothed woman smiled with a hint of coldness in her voice. In the spectral bone flame, a flame formed from the burning of countless experts' corpses. Although it's not the founder's Black Dragon flame, its power is definitely not weak. So brat, you should obediently accept your death. Spectral bone flame? Lin Xian's eyes narrowed as killing intent appeared in his eyes. Indeed, the rise of the Black Dragon religion had killed countless creatures in the southern heaven region. And this white-clothed woman was the spectral bone flame condensed from those corpses. It was extremely strange. It was somewhat similar to the white Yin thunder in Lin Xian's hand. I see. I didn't expect the two of you to have such extraordinary origins. Lin Xian nodded slightly. No wonder I couldn't kill you before. But since I already know your origins, there's no need to talk anymore. Now go to hell. Lin Xian's expression was cold and filled with killing intent. What did you say? You want us to go to hell? The two people in front sneered. Brat, do you know what you're saying? What an idiot. You are the first person who dares to boast like this after knowing our identity. Since you don't want to die obediently, don't blame us for being impolite. Their voices were filled with disdain. Then, the black and white figures flashed and turned into two balls of black and white flames, quickly attacking Lin Xian. That terrifying aura caused the entire void to distort and crack. Lin Xian didn't retreat when he saw the two charging at him. Instead, he waved his hand and a ball of black flames appeared on his palm. Black fire? The black-robed man was stunned when he saw this. Then he sneered disdainfully. Brat, don't think that you can scare me by making the flame black. A flame like yours is nothing in my eyes. Before he could finish, the voice suddenly stopped. In the next moment, the black-robed man's pupils suddenly constricted, and he let out a shrill scream, as if he had been heavily injured. What? How is that possible? How can you hurt me? He roared crazily, his nerves twisted and his face full of disbelief. Impossible, this is impossible. There's no flame in this world that can hurt me. I'm the sect leader's origin flame. He was crazy. He was really crazy. He was evolved from the flame on the Black Dragon sect leader's body. It was extremely terrifying. Even the Sky Prides would have a headache when they saw it. However, the other party had hurt him. He found it hard to believe, because something like this had never happened before. At the side, the woman in white was also stunned. What? How is that possible? You hurt the dragon flame? Brat, how did you do it? A look of shock appeared on her delicate face. What is that black flame in your hand? How can it compete with the sect leader's flame? Lin Xian snorted coldly. Humph. How dare a black dragon call itself a dragon? You must have a death wish. What? How dare you say that about the black sect leader? Damn it, aren't you a disciple of the saint sect? At that moment, the woman in white and the man in black were stunned. They did not expect the young man in front of them to be so arrogant as to insult the sect leader. This was definitely a capital offense in the saint sect. Unless the other party was not a member of the saint sect. There's no need to know so much about a dying person, Lin Xian said coldly. Then he quickly stretched his palm forward. You must have a death wish. You're too presumptuous. The two of them were furious and attacked crazily. They had said the same thing to Lin Xian before. They did not expect him to return it. The man in black robe roared. His body quickly melted and turned into a black dragon. It roared in the air and rushed toward Lin Xian. The woman in white also turned into a ball of white flame. She exuded an extremely cold aura and flew forward quickly. Lin Xian was expressionless. He said in a low voice, Black flame martial soul materialize. In the next moment, countless black lines appeared on his body. From those lines, balls of black flame surged out and danced on his body. Not only that, two pairs of black flame wings appeared on Lin Xian's back. They spread out quickly like the wings of a demon. At the same time, a terrifying heat burst out from his body and swept through the entire space. Lin Xian released his black flame martial soul and punched out. Suddenly, countless black flames condensed and formed a strange black bird that flew forward. If the people of the Tianwu continent were here, they would definitely scream. The heavenly nether bird. That's right. Lin Xian's black flame martial soul came from the heavenly nether bird. At that moment, he used the black flames to condense the heavenly nether bird's appearance and quickly rushed forward. In the next moment, the three balls of flames collided and released a terrifying energy fluctuation. Ah! Then from the center of the energy, a man and a woman screamed. They were so miserable that it made people tremble. Impossible! How can you have such a terrifying flame? Who are you? Damn it! What kind of flame is this? The two of them roared crazily, but soon their voices disappeared. Not only that, their auras also disappeared. Only Lin Xian's black flames were left in the sky, burning fiercely. As for those two fire spirits, they never appeared again. Under Lin Xian's control, the 9 nether black flames quickly spread and burned the surrounding corpses clean. Then they returned to Lin Xian's body. Soon, the entire space returned to normal. There were no abnormalities. Chapter 1377. Soon, the entire space returned to normal. There were no abnormalities. Soon, other than
blazing
Lin Xian,
aura in the distance
no one else
disappeared,
knew that a great
and the
battle
world
had
returned
taken
to
place
peace.
here. The
I
smile
didn't
on
expect
Luocha's
the black
face
dragon
grew wider.
to have
It's
such
over.
a strange creature
I didn't
like
expect
the fire
that kid to
spirit.
be so weak.
How rare.
It's over in such
I wonder
a short
what
period of
surprises
time.
there will be at the
Everyone
Octadic
am
treasure
going to
chest
collect the
game
blood soul
tomorrow.
stones.
Lin Xian
See
muttered
you at
to
the
himself.
Octadic treasure
Then
chest
he
game
disappeared in
tomorrow.
a flash.
In
Luocha
fact,
chuckled and
while
walked
Lin
out of the
Xian was
door.
fighting with these people,
However, in another
Nangong
secret
Hao
room,
and the others looked
Nangong
gloomy.
Hao, Blood
He flung
Rogue,
his sleeve
Ghostly,
and left quickly.
and a few other prodigies
After
were
that,
gathered.
The others
Among
also
them,
left one after
Nangong
another.
Hao said in a deep
Although the
voice,
assassination
"This
attempt
time
had
we have
failed,
sent out the elites
and they were
of each
very
hall.
upset.
Even we
They
will
had
have
no
a headache
intention
if
of
we
taking
work
action.
together.
Because
With
that
that
was
kid's
still the
strength,
Octadic
it is
treasure chest
impossible
game
for him
tomorrow.
to survive.
As long as they could
It's
win
too
the
easy for
Octadic
him to
treasure
die
chest
just
game,
like that.
Their previous
If it weren't
failure
for
was
the
nothing.
Octadic treasure
The
chest
night
game
passed
tomorrow.
quickly.
I
The
would have
next
killed
day,
him myself.
the southern wilderness
Rogue
ancient
snorted.
town was
Ghostly
bustling
was
with
also
activity
disappointed.
again. Many disciples were
What a
discussing
pity.
what had happened
Such a good
yesterday.
soul is wasted
Not
just like
everyone
that.
could enter the auction.
However, shadowless
most ordinary
expression was
disciples
solemn.
could not enter
You're
at
too
all.
confident.
Therefore,
Based
they
on
did
my
not know much
observation,
about what had
while
happened
woofing is
yesterday.
indeed powerful,
It was not until
he's
today
not
that
weaker
the
than
news
us.
had spread through the
Therefore,
crowd's
it was better
discussion.
not to make a decision
You're
so
saying
early.
that someone attacked
At the
Nangong
side,
Hao and the
Ziyang
others
also
yesterday?
nodded.
They
He
kept
kept
having
having
a
a
bad
bad
premonition.
Oh my God,
However,
I'm not dreaming,
Yu
am I?
Luocha smiled
It's true.
disdainfully. I was there
No
yesterday
matter what your
and
people
saw how
do,
flustered and
that kid will
exasperated
definitely
those
die
sky
today.
prides were.
You're that
I've
confident.
never seen that expression
Blood
in my
Rogue
life.
glanced at her.
That Hua
I
Woofing
know what
is
you're
too
planning.
powerful. You
He
all
managed
want that
to
blood
steal
soul
the treasures
stone.
from so
But
many
let me
sky
tell you,
prides without
that
anyone
blood soul
knowing.
stone is definitely mine.
So what if he's
You're
powerful?
too confident.
He's already
Ghostly
dead.
sneered.
Someone sneered.
Of course.
What?
Because for
Dead.
the sake of
The
preparing
crowd
for
was
the
in an uproar.
unexpected,
Are you
I've
kidding?
invited 2
How
fire
could such a
spirits.
powerful person
What?
be dead?
You
What
invited
do you know?
fire spirits?
There was an intense battle
Everyone's
last
expression
night.
changed
That
when
kid
they heard
must have
this.
died a horrible
Blood
death.
Hand.
I'm
Nangong
afraid there's
Hao.
not even a
And
corpse
the others
left.
even stood up
What?
with an
There
extremely
was an
excited
intense battle
expression.
last night.
They were all elite
How could that
elites.
happen?
Naturally,
Why didn't I feel
they knew what
anything at all?
Luo meant
It
by
must
fire
have been a
spirits.
top-notch expert.
You crazy
How
woman.
could there not be any
What price
ripples
did you
from
pay
such
to
an
even
intense
invite
battle?
the fire spirit?
He's too powerful.
Ghostly's expression
The crowd was
cold.
shocked and asked
At the
one
sight,
after another.
Bloodhand's expression
Finally,
was
they
unsightly
understood
as
what
well.
had happened.
Because in
It
this
turned
way,
out that the
they would
various
have no
halls and
chance to
top-notch
seize
sky
the Blood
prides
Soul Stone
had
at all.
sent out terrifying
However,
experts
Yu
to kill
Luo
Hua
smiled
Wufeng.
sweetly.
It was even rumored
No matter
that
the
the fire
price,
spirit
the
had
Blood
taken
Soul
action.
Stone must be mine.
In other words,
As
there was
they were
no
talking,
chance of him
they
surviving.
suddenly felt an extremely
Hua
majestic
Wufeng is too
power
arrogant.
coming from afar.
He offended
At
so
this
many
moment,
sky prides
an
at the
extremely
same
hot
time.
aura came from
Otherwise,
afar.
he should still be
Sensing
alive.
this aura,
What do you know?
Nangong Hao, Blood
He was
Hand,
fine when he
Ghostly,
offended
and the
those
others'
sky
faces
prides.
turned ugly.
Those sky
However,
prides
Yu
sent
Luo
out people
laughed.
who did not hurt Hua
It seems
Wufeng
like
at all.
these 2 fire
In the
spirits
end,
have taken
the Pink
action.
family sent out
Since
the
they
fire
have taken
spirit
action
to destroy him.
It means that your
That's
people
why
are already
forget
dead.
about being arrogant
before.
before.
Nangong Zhonghao snorted
You must
coldly.
not provoke
His
the people
expression
from
was
the pink
extremely
aristocratic
cold.
family.
He didn't
because
expect
no
the other
one knows
party
what
to
kind
be
of
so
terrifying
powerful to be able
experts they
to kill
can
the
find.
experts he sent out. Bloodhand and Ghostly's expressions became even more gloomy. This wasn't good news to them. In this way, they would have no chance to seize the Blood Soul Stones at all. Damn it, how can that Hua Wufeng be so strong? Kill all the assassins we sent out. How long has it been? Even if it were us, I'm afraid we wouldn't be able to finish it off so quickly. That damn guy is really hard to deal with. We were too careless this time. Low voices rang out one after another. At this moment, Yu Luocha stood up and said in a sweet voice, "Everyone, you can slowly regret it. I'm going to collect the Blood Soul Stones. Why are you in such a hurry? The battle isn't over yet. Although the fire spirits have taken action, it doesn't mean that you'll definitely succeed." Bloodhand said coldly, "Are you out of your mind?" Yu Luocha snorted. "How dare you doubt the fire spirit's actions? Do you know what a fire spirit is?" Hearing this, everyone fell silent. Indeed, the fire spirit stone was extremely terrifying. Even they might not be able to win, let alone Hua Wufeng. Chapter 1378. What do you know? He was fine when he offended those sky prides. Those people sent by those sky prides didn't hurt Hua Wufeng at all. In the end, it was the fire spirit sent by the Pink family that destroyed him. That's why, forget about being arrogant before. You must not provoke the people from the Pink aristocratic family, because no one knows what kind of terrifying experts they can find. Hua Wufeng is a living example. Everyone trembled when they heard about the Pink family. That's right. Even someone as strong as Hua Wufeng, who could fight against the various sky prides, was powerless in front of the Pink family. It had to be said that this was too shocking. Forget it. Let's not talk about him. Today is the last day of the Dark and Light Conference. The Octatic Treasure Chess game will be the highlight. That's right. The top sky prides from the various halls will definitely fight at the Octatic Treasure Chess game. I'm afraid you won't be able to see such an intense battle normally. It's because the Octatic Treasure Chess game is on the third day that those top sky prides didn't fight. Otherwise, Hua Wufeng wouldn't have the chance to be so arrogant. Any sky prides could easily destroy him. That makes sense. Alright, let's go. Let's go to the Octatic Treasure Chess game. If we're late, we won't be able to see the fun. Everyone moved and headed towards the center of the southern wilderness ancient town. The Octatic Treasure Chess game was a formation. To be precise, it was an ancient formation. Looking down from the sky, the formation looked like a chessboard. That was why it was called the Octatic Treasure Chess game. In fact, it was related to chess. The formation had a total of 8 positions, and each position could allow one martial artist to stand. The martial artists would use themselves as chess pieces and battle techniques as the chessboard to move around. Not only did they have to fight against the enemies created by the formation, but they also had to fight against 7 other martial artists. It was a very dangerous formation. The leader of the Black Dragon religion used the mysterious crystal as a reward and integrated it into the formation. Then, he let the disciples of the religion kill each other. Only the winner would be able to obtain the mysterious crystal. It could be said that this was a very cruel elimination mechanism. However, it gave everyone hope. As long as they were strong enough to win the Octatic Treasure Chess game, they would be able to obtain the mysterious crystal and increase their cultivation. Now, all the martial artists in the entire southern desolate ancient town were rushing in the direction of the early Octet Treasure Chess game. On the other side, in the Drunken Immortal Inn, Lin Xian opened his eyes. After killing those assassins yesterday, he returned to his room and began to absorb the power of the Blood Soul Stone. It had to be said that these Blood Soul Stones were truly miraculous, worthy of those Black Dragon cult's experts fighting over them. In just one night, Lin Xian could feel his blood essence and soul power growing. One had to know that this was an extremely rare thing. This was because his Furious Dragon incantation and Sky Spill visualization diagram had both reached a bottleneck and were temporarily unable to break through. In other words, his blood chi and soul power had reached the peak. Unless he made another breakthrough and entered the 9th heavenly layer, it would be impossible for his soul power to increase again. Now, with just one Blood Soul Stone, his blood chi and soul power had improved in one night. One had to admit that it was simply too miraculous. With a flip of his palm, Lin Xian put the Blood Soul Stone into his storage ring. In just one night, I've absorbed about 1/5 of the Blood Soul Stone's energy. The effect is very obvious. The corner of Lin Xian's mouth curled up slightly. However, he couldn't absorb any more now because he wanted to see what this so-called Octatic Chess game was. Southern Desolation Ancient Town, Octatic Chess Game. The ground in front rose high, forming a unique plateau. On top of it, there were crisscrossing straight lines that intersected with each other. From the sky, it looked like a huge chessboard. On this chessboard, a cold light flickered, releasing a primitive power that made one's heart palpitate. Around this chessboard, a sea of people had gathered. Countless people stretched their necks and looked forward. At the front, a few figures stood proudly. They were the geniuses of the various halls. Nangong Hao wore a robe and had an arrogant expression. When he saw Yu Luosha walking over from behind, he immediately snorted. It was obvious that he was still brooding over yesterday's incident. On the side, Bloodhand's eyes also flickered. He said in a deep voice, "Later on in the Octatic Chess game, do you dare to take out the Blood Soul Stone as a wager? Hehe, if you dare to take it out, I can guarantee that the Blood Soul Stone will be mine." On the other side, Ghostly also sneered. Yu Luosha snorted coldly. There was a layer of ice on her exquisite face. It was obvious that she wasn't happy. The next moment she said coldly, "I won't use the Blood Soul Stone as a wager because it's not in my hands now." "Not in your hands?" Nangong Hao was stunned. Bloodhand sneered. "It's fine if you don't dare to take it out. Why lie like this? Do you think I'm afraid of you?" Yu Luosha frowned and stared at Bloodhand. "What's going on? Tell me quickly." Ghost Li's expression was cold, because Yu Luosha didn't seem to be lying. Could it be that an accident had happened? The Blood Soul Stone is indeed not in my hands, because the 2 fire spirits didn't return yesterday. What? They didn't return? How is that possible? In the distance, Shadowless also frowned. Do you know the reason? Could it be that those 2 fellows also wanted the Blood Soul Stone, so they didn't give it to you? Impossible. They are fire spirits. They don't need the Blood Soul Stone. What they need is Huoyan. So it's impossible for them to take the Blood Soul Stone. I think there must be another reason why they didn't come, Yuluosha said solemnly. Then what's the reason? The 2 fire spirits are incomparably powerful. No one can subdue them, right? Bloodhand was puzzled. Not necessarily. In this southern desolation ancient village, there's still one person who can subdue the 2 of them. Who? City Lord. Yuluosha gritted her teeth and said, if it's the City Lord, I'm afraid the 2 fire spirits won't be able to resist. You're saying that the City Lord also wants the Blood Soul Stone? Ghost Lee's expression became extremely ugly. Why wouldn't he want it? The Blood Soul Stone is useful to everyone. He's also a supremacy. Naturally, he also needs the Blood Soul Stone. Yuluosha's voice was cold. She sneered. Just you wait. Anyway, the elders from the various factions will be here today. At that time, I don't believe that the City Lord can resist the anger of my pink family. When the time comes, I'll make him spit it out the same way he ate it. Everyone discussed. From the beginning to the end, they never thought that it was Lin Xian who made the move. Because in their opinion, Lin Xian was already dead. It was impossible for him to defeat the fire spirits. The few geniuses were gloomy, and their expressions were somewhat gloomy. At this moment, the octatic treasure chest in front of them suddenly bloomed with a dazzling light, forming 8 flickering patterns in all directions. Soon a low voice sounded in everyone's ears. Chapter 1379. At that moment, the octatic treasure chessboard in front of them suddenly emitted a dazzling light, forming 8 flickering patterns in all directions. Soon, a low voice sounded in everyone's ears. As the voice fell, the octatic treasure chessboard in front of them changed. Black and white chess pieces appeared on the crisscrossing chessboard. Everyone held their breaths as their eyes shone with a fiery light. The most crucial moment had finally arrived. Although most of them were unable to participate, it was worth it to be able to see a battle between geniuses. At that moment, Elder Ling, who also appeared in the void, he looked down and said coldly, "Now the octatic treasure chessboard begins. All geniuses, please enter." Nangong Hao, 2nd Division leader of the Divine Pill Hall, chin in position. As his voice fell, Nangong Hao's face was filled with arrogance as he strode forward. Bloodhand, 1st Division leader of the Blood Fiend Hall, Kuan North position. Bloodhand was dressed in a blood-red robe. His expression was extremely cold, and his body was surrounded by a blood-red aura. He was like a god of death as he came to the north. Ghostly, 1st Division leader of the Malicious Ghost Hall, Li Dong position. In a black robe, Ghost Li's face was pale, and his eyes were emitting a dark green light. In a flash, he arrived above the octatic treasure chessboard and looked down. Pink aristocratic family, Yu Luocha, Kuan West position. Yu Luocha was wearing a long pink dress. She was wearing a bewitching pose as she floated to the top. Purple Demon Hall, 1st Division leader Zi Yang, DUI Southeast position. Zi Yang's face was solemn as he flew forward like a purple ray of light. Assassination Hall, 1st Division leader Wu Ying, Shao Northeast position. As his voice fell, a figure had already appeared above the octatic treasure chessboard. It was Wu Ying. He was like a ghost, and no one knew how he appeared. Black Wind Hall, 1st Division leader Feng Hudi, Sun Southwest position. It was a woman. She was dressed in black armor and had a sharp aura around her. She did not appear much before, but now that she appeared, her powerful aura suppressed everyone. Buzz! Like a black hurricane, she quickly arrived above them. Her powerful aura was like an invisible wave that swept in all directions. Last person, Southern Ancient Town, Guyuan Gen Northwest position. As her voice fell, a handsome young man appeared in front of everyone. His aura was very powerful. He had also reached the 9th heaven of the Venerable Realm. His gaze was like lightning, and his aura was no weaker than that of the previous geniuses. He was from the Southern Desolate Ancient Town, the City Lord's mansion. Gu Yuan laughed coldly, and also strode into the formation. At this point, the 8 positions on the octatic treasure chessboard were all filled with people. Beneath their feet, 8 rays of light flickered. On the chessboard in front of them, there were different black and white chess pieces floating, shining with a strange light. However, the octatic treasure chess game did not begin immediately. Instead, Elder Ling Hu announced loudly, "The previous 8 people are the 8 representatives that we have chosen. They are the strongest geniuses of the younger generation. However, there are many hidden dragons and crouching tigers in our Saint sect. We don't know all of them, so if anyone wants to participate in the octatic treasure chess game, you can step forward now. Every martial artist has one chance to challenge the 8 people on the stage. However, I would like to give everyone a word of advice. The challenge is dangerous. If you are killed in the process, we will not intervene. I hope everyone will be cautious. Of course, the entire challenge process only lasted for 30 minutes. After that, the octatic treasure chess game would begin completely." As soon as Elder Ling Hu finished speaking, someone below lit a stick of sandalwood. Immediately, smoke rose into the air. After the initial shock, the surrounding martial artists fell silent. Pairs of eyes scanned the 8 geniuses in front of them. However, no one dared to make a move. To be honest, the 8 people in front of them were basically the strongest of the younger generation of the Black Dragon sect. Among them, there were 6 top geniuses from the hall. One was from the Pink aristocratic family. The other was from the City Lord's mansion. The 2 of them had powerful auras. They had reached the 9th heaven of the Venerable Realm at such a young age. They were definitely not weaker than any of the geniuses. As for the other 2 halls, Lin Xian had killed many of the Azura Hall's martial artists. However, their main forces had yet to arrive. Therefore, no outstanding geniuses had appeared. The most puzzling one was the Nether Hall. Although the Nether Hall was the weakest force among the 8 halls, they should have 1 or 2 outstanding martial artists. However, there seemed to be no sign of the Nether Hall in the entire convention. Although everyone was puzzled, they did not suspect anything. After all, they would never believe that the Nether Hall had been destroyed. Although there was a chance to challenge them, The convention was eerily quiet. No one went up at all. Nangong Hao had his hands behind his back. His face was full of arrogance. He did not even look at the crowd because he knew that no one dared to challenge him. Yu Luosha's eyes were like hooks as she smiled at the crowd below. No one is coming out. That's really disappointing. Ghostly also let out a sinister laugh. Is there really no one coming out to challenge me? I still want to add a few more souls to my white bone banner. Hearing this, everyone trembled. Looking at the other party's appearance, if they really challenged him, they would probably be killed instantly. Even their souls would not be able to enter the cycle of reincarnation. Although everyone was afraid, after the silence, someone still made a move. It was a young man with a determined expression. He was tall and straight and wore a red robe. However, he was not from the Blood Fiend Hall. He was from the former 5th grade sect, the Heavenly Fire sect. However, he had now joined the Black Dragon sect. The young man held a pair of fiery red rings in his hands and strode forward. Guokai, it's actually him. It was a young man with a determined expression. He was tall and straight and wore a red robe. However, he was not from the Blood Fiend Hall. He was from the former 5th grade sect, the Heavenly Fire sect. However, he had now joined the Black Dragon sect. The young man held a pair of fiery red rings in his hands and strode forward. Guokai, it's actually him. He used to be from the Heavenly Fire sect. He can be considered a genius. I wonder who he wants to challenge. Many people's eyes flickered. They were very excited. Seeing that someone had come out, the people on the octatic treasure chessboard all looked down. Suddenly, Guokai felt a terrifying pressure pressing down on him. It was as if he was going to be crushed. He shouted coldly, and quickly circulated the spiritual power in his body. Only then did he block the 8 gazes. Humph! Nangong Hao sneered and shook his head. He no longer paid attention. He could see that the other party also used a fire attribute cultivation technique. However, compared to his, the other party's flames were not worth mentioning. Therefore, he was not interested at all. Guokai naturally knew his own strength. Therefore, he challenged Ghostly. This was because he cultivated a fire attribute cultivation technique. It was extremely strong in yang. On the other hand, Ghostly cultivated a ghost technique. It could be said that it was extremely cold and gloomy. It happened to be restrained by flames. Chapter 1380. Guokai naturally knew his own strength, which was why he challenged Ghostly. That was because he cultivated a fire elemental cultivation technique, which was extremely yang. On the other hand, Ghostly cultivated the Ghost Dao, which was extremely cold, and was perfectly countered by flames. In other words, among the 8 geniuses above, only Ghostly had the opposite attribute to him. This was also his only chance. That was why Guokai wanted to give it a try. Seeing that he was going to be challenged, Ghostly immediately sneered and let out a chuckle. 2 balls of green flames danced in his eyes as he stared at Guokai below. Peak 8th rank supremacy? Not bad, not bad. It seems that you can strengthen my white bone banner again. His voice was filled with coldness and confidence. In his opinion, his opponent was a delicious delicacy that could strengthen his white bone banner. That was all. Many people trembled when they heard this, and fear appeared on their faces. However, Guokai snorted coldly. Since he had already decided to challenge, he did not hesitate. In the next moment, an incomparable power erupted from his body. It was incomparably hot and his entire body was like a god of fire, extremely dazzling. The terrifying heat wave was like a tide that slapped in all directions, immediately causing everyone to retreat in shock. That aura was very terrifying. Although it was slightly inferior to the geniuses above, it was far superior to the others. From this point, it could be seen that Guokai had the qualifications to challenge. Guokai held 2 red iron rings in his hands and quickly collided in the air. The red rings were very special. They were about the size of a bowl and were extremely red. There were strange inscriptions carved on them. With a gentle wave, countless runes flashed and surrounded them. It was obvious that they were treasures. Clang! The red rings collided with a crisp sound, as if metal had collided. Not only that, during the collision, countless flames converged and formed a flame lizard that quickly rushed forward. The lizard was very large. and its entire body was formed by flames. Its head was like a giant dragon's and was extremely ferocious. As soon as it appeared, it carried an extremely terrifying aura and quickly charged towards Ghostly. Haha, you're too naive. Do you think that your little flames can suppress me? Ghostly sneered. If it was Nangong Hao who attacked, he would naturally have to go all out. However, the young man in front of him was only at the peak of the 8th rank, which was far inferior to him. He did not take him seriously at all. He stretched out his palm, intending to grab something in front of him. Suddenly the void cracked, and a huge white bone claw appeared out of thin air, quickly slapping forward. Pung! The claw landed on the gigantic flame lizard, shattering its head. Countless flames were torn apart and scattered all over the ground. Guokai's pupils shrank. He didn't expect his all-out attack to be countered so quickly. With a cold snort, his expression was incomparably gloomy as he decided to use his ultimate move again. However, Ghostly did not give him the chance. After his attack succeeded, he waved his hand, and a white bone banner appeared out of thin air. It immediately emanated an incomparably cold aura. Countless vengeful spirits and ghosts circled around it, a scene that would make one's scalp tingle. Brat, since you dare to challenge me, then obediently become my soul. Ghostly Ning laughed. His pale white hand grabbed the white bone banner and waved it forward. Instantly, countless vengeful spirits gathered, forming a huge skull that bit towards Guokai. Damn it, Scram! Seeing the skull rushing towards him, Guokai roared angrily. Flames bloomed all over his body, forming a flaming giant that blasted upwards. However, it was useless this time. The flames that he was so proud of had lost their luster at this moment. The white skull was extremely terrifying, as it was not afraid of the flames. Not only that, the gloomy ghost aura on it quickly extinguished the flaming giant. What? It's not afraid of the flames? How is that possible? Guokai's pupils shrank. He didn't believe it at all because in his knowledge, ghosts were all afraid of flames. However, the current situation was the exact opposite. Ignorant fool, what do you know? Ghostly sneered, then used his strength again. Instantly, the white skull enveloped Guokai. Countless miserable cries rang out, piercing through the heavens and earth. In an instant, Guokai was swallowed until not even his bones were left. His soul was also extracted and integrated into the white bone banner, forming another vengeful spirit. Ghostly smiled and waved his hand, retrieving the white bone banner. The soul of an 8th heaven supremacy, not bad. Not bad. It's indeed delicious. Hearing those cold words, everyone's scalp tingled. Shocking, it was really too shocking. That was an 8th heaven supremacy martial artist. But he couldn't even withstand a single move. Could it be that these geniuses were already so powerful? Who else? Hurry up and come. Ghostly had tasted the sweetness, and was naturally excited. His dark green eyes swept around, but no one dared to look at him. Everyone was speechless, and the scene was silent. After a moment of silence, another person walked out of the crowd. It was a burly man. He was 2 meters tall, and his body was as strong as an ox. His bronze skin shone with the radiance of strength under the sun. Chun Shan, a 8th heaven supremacy, had boundless strength. The person he challenged was not Ghostly, but the first leader of the Ravengale Hall, Feng Hudi. Seeing that it was not him, Ghostly snorted coldly, feeling extremely unhappy. When he saw that the other party was challenging Pink Butterfly, he immediately smiled sinisterly. Little Butterfly, can you give his soul to me later? Give it to you. Let you grow stronger? Feng Hudi snorted coldly. Feng Hudi, the first leader of the Ravengale Hall, was dressed in black armor. She was very beautiful, and there was a heroic spirit between her brows. She held a black spear in her hand, and she looked like a black demon king. Her beautiful eyes swept across the crowd, and she said coldly, "I'll give you one chance. Make your move. I advise you to go all out, because you only have one chance." Roar. Below, the burly man roared angrily, and a terrifying power surged out from his body. His body, which was originally 2 meters tall, suddenly grew taller, and became a 3-meter giant. Not only that, but the muscles all over his body bulged, and fine scales appeared on the surface, covering his entire body in an instant. In an instant, the burly man had become an extremely sinister monster. With a roar, the air exploded. With a stomp of his foot, countless air waves suddenly exploded, and his body was like a cannonball, instantly shooting upwards. What terrifying power! He's already not weaker than a ninth heaven supremacy. Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect such an expert to be hidden in the crowd. However, looking at this scene, Feng Hudi's exquisite face was extremely cold. Chapter 1381. Looking at this scene, Feng Hudi's delicate face was very cold. Then, she held the black spear in her hand and stabbed it out. Puff! Blood spurted out, and the scene froze in midair. A 3-meter-tall giant with shocking power tore apart the sky and shattered the earth. It was extremely terrifying. And at this moment, it was pierced by a black spear and nailed to the void. Blood dripped down from the spear tip and fell to the ground, creating countless blood flowers. Humph! Feng Hudi put away her spear, and the giant body fell from the sky and smashed into the ground. Silence, complete silence. Everyone was silent. They did not expect the Ravengale Hall's first branch leader to be so powerful. One had to know that the other party did not reveal his strength at all. He did not even appear in front of everyone. But now his attack was like a bolt of lightning, directly shocking everyone. Not only the martial artists below, but even the other geniuses on the Octatic treasure chess game were shocked. They did not expect that the Ravengale Hall, which had always kept a low profile, would have such a powerful person. Ghostly's face was also ugly. His green eyes emitted a cold light. Soul Destroyer Spear. I did not expect you to cultivate the Soul Destroyer Spear. He was simply too shocked, because the soul of the dead man had been completely destroyed. There was nothing left of him at all. Only a soul attack could cause such damage, but the other party did not use any soul attack at all. She only used a spear. Other than the Soul Destroyer spear, he could not think of any other spear technique. You know quite a lot. But don't fight me when the time comes. Otherwise, I will destroy all your souls with one spear. Feng Huti snorted and put away her spear. Humph! Ghost Li's expression was cold. The other party's spear technique seemed to have restrained his souls. But if they were to fight, he would not be afraid. With Ghost Li and Feng Huti attacking one after another, and killing a strong opponent in one move, the scene fell into silence again. And after this, no one dared to challenge again. The 8 people on the stage were too powerful. They were not people they could compete with. Even the 8th highest peak venerable could not withstand one move. If they went up, they would only be courting death. Time passed slowly. The incense stick was about to burn out. But at this moment a voice drifted over. How could I miss out on such a grand occasion? Those 8 in the arena. If you don't want to die, give me a spot so that I won't start a massacre. Although this voice was light as a feather, it contained boundless arrogance, making one of the 8 sky prides on the stage withdraw. If this wasn't arrogance, then what was? Remember that the 8 people on stage were all top-notch heaven's favorites. Nobody could fight against them. But now there was someone who didn't care at all. He even dared to threaten them. This was beyond everyone's expectations. Therefore, in the next moment, everyone turned around, wanting to see which madman dared to say such a thing. However, when they saw the figure behind them, they were all stunned. Hua Wufeng, how could it be him? Isn't he dead? What's going on? Could it be that he's not dead? Everyone was extremely shocked, because the person behind him was none other than Lin Xian. Of course, his current name was Hua Wufeng. Everyone cried out in surprise. They didn't expect that this incomparably arrogant devil would appear again. Thus, everyone automatically opened up a path. The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up as he strode forward. On the octatic treasure chessboard, Nangong Hao and the others were stunned when they saw this. Especially Yu Luosha. Her beautiful eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. What? Not dead? You're not dead? How is this possible? It's really you, Nangong Hao Bloodhand, and the others were also extremely shocked. Not dead, you're not dead. Yu Luosha recovered from her initial shock. Then, her delicate face was filled with viciousness. Why didn't the 2 fire spirits come back? What did you do to them? Yu Luosha shouted coldly. She finally knew why the fire spirits didn't come back. It was because they weren't dead. Hua Wufeng's appearance also meant that the fire spirit's assassination had failed. However, Lin Xian sneered. Come back? The dead can't come back. What? You killed them. Hearing this, Yu Luosha was extremely shocked and screamed. She couldn't help it. She was too shocked because she didn't believe that someone from the younger generation could kill the fire spirits. At this moment, not only Yu Luosha, but Nangong Hao Bloodhand, Ghost Li, and the others were also shocked and couldn't believe it. Even they weren't confident that they could kill the fire spirits. However, Lin Xian had done it. This was indeed a huge blow to them. Humph, don't be so arrogant. I don't know what tricks you used to kill the 2 fire spirits. However, since you dared to kill them, you're definitely dead. Just you wait. Once the octatic treasure chessboard is over, you won't be able to escape. Yu Luosha's face was filled with viciousness. The other sky prides were also filled with murderous intent, because not only did Lin Xian snatch the Blood Soul Stone, he also snatched all the treasures that they had won. Especially Nangong Hao, who had always been conceited and wanted to be above everyone else. However, Lin Xian had snatched his precious spiritual medicine. Wasn't that a slap to his face? At this moment when he saw Lin Xian, his face was terrifyingly gloomy. Lin Xian didn't care about those murderous gazes. He looked to the front and said coldly, If any of you retreat consciously, I can spare your lives. Otherwise, if I attack, I'm afraid you won't end up so well. How dare you? How arrogant. Kid, you're too arrogant. The sky prides on Lin Xian's stage were furious. Meanwhile, the surrounding crowd was extremely shocked. Perhaps only Lin Xian dared to speak to the sky prides in such a manner. Seeing that no one moved, Lin Xian glanced around coldly. Then he stretched out his finger. How about this? I'll challenge whoever I choose. Everyone was speechless. That was too arrogant. That was because the 8 people on the stage were all top-notch sky prides. Even if someone wanted to challenge them, they would have to combine their skills and see who they could restrain before making a move. However, Lin Xian didn't care at all. He even chose randomly. If that wasn't arrogance, then what was? Nangong Hao and the others were infuriated by Lin Xian's actions. However, no one said anything. That was because from what had happened before, Lin Xian's strength was definitely not weaker than theirs. At the very least, he could kill 2 fire spirits. One had to know that fire spirits were extremely special existences. They weren't humans to begin with. Instead, they were formed by flames. They didn't have a physical body. Physical attacks couldn't kill them at all. Soul attacks had no effect on them either. They couldn't figure out how Lin Xian had killed the fire spirits. However, they were certain that Lin Xian's strength was definitely not weaker than any of them. Therefore, facing Lin Xian's challenge, all of them were extremely nervous. I'll choose whoever little rooster points to. Lin Xian pointed at the 8 people. His words made Nangong Hao ghostly, and the others' faces turned black. It's you. Chapter 1382. I'll choose whoever little rooster points to. Lin Xian pointed at the 8 people. His words made Nangong Hao ghostly, and the others' faces turned black. It's you. Finally, Lin Xian pointed at a figure. Who is it? Everyone craned their necks and looked carefully. What? It's him. Then a series of exclamations sounded. It was the first leader of the Purple Demon Hall, Ziyang. Seeing that Ziyang was chosen, Nangong Hao and the others heaved a sigh of relief for some reason. The crowd was in an uproar. They didn't expect Lin Xian's final opponent
were either
to be
humiliated
Ziyang
by
from the
him
Purple
or
Demon
killed
Hall.
on the spot.
Ziyang,
Thinking
I
of
didn't
this,
expect it to be
Ziyang
him.
took a deep breath.
He's an expert
and
in
his
soul
face was
power.
terrifyingly
His
dark.
pair of purple
He didn't
demon
want to be
eyes
killed by the
extremely
other
strange.
party.
Nor
Although
did he want
Hua
to be
Wufing's
pressed to the
combat
ground
strength was strong
and kowtowed in
his
front
soul
of everyone.
power didn't seem
So
to be
he decided to
outstanding.
retreat.
Now that he's
There's
up
no
against
need to
Ziyang,
compete. I'm
I'll
afraid
give this
he'll be in
position
trouble.
to you.
Indeed,
Ziyang said
Lin
in a low
Xian had
voice.
only displayed
Then
his
his
lightning
body
and ice
swayed,
attributes,
and he left the octatic
he hadn't
treasure
displayed
chest
his
game.
soul power.
What?
Therefore,
retreated.
no one knew how strong
Seeing
Lin
this scene,
Xian's soul power
everyone
was.
was stupefied.
Everyone had different
not daring
expressions.
to believe it.
I'm not
face
dreaming,
was
am I?
gloomy.
He didn't
Ziyang
expect
actually
that
took
he
the
would be the
initiative
one
to
to fight
retreat.
with Lin Xian.
Heavens!
Ziyang's face
Hua
was very
become
ugly.
so
He
terrifying.
didn't expect Lin
Even the
Xian
top
to choose
prodigies
him.
don't dare
In
to
the
fight
next
him.
moment, everyone's
retreated
eyes were
without
on
a
him.
fight.
Especially the other
crazy?
7 geniuses
Everyone
on the
exclaimed
platform.
and couldn't
They
understand.
were all looking at
The
him
other
with
7
playful
prodigies
smiles
were
on their
also
faces.
stunned.
Feeling
And their
minds were
gazes.
blank.
That was
Ziyang's face
Ziyang.
became even
He was a
gloomier.
top prodigy like
To be
them.
honest, the
And he
purple demon
specialized
hall
in
wasn't the top
illusionary
in the
attacks.
Black Dragon sect.
It was very strange.
At most, it was
and
a mid-tier
impossible
hall
to guard against.
compared to Blood
Even
Rogue.
they had to be
Nangong
extremely
Hao,
careful
and the
against
others,
such a
he was
person.
slightly weaker.
Originally,
However,
they wanted
Lin
to use
Xian,
this battle
who
to
was in
find
front
out
of
more
them,
about Lin
had
Xian's
dodged
background.
the encirclement of the
But they
elites
didn't
from the
expect
various
Ziyang
halls
to retreat,
and had even
he
killed
retreated
2
without
fire
a fight.
spirits. They
He
didn't
knew
expect
that he
this
couldn't
outcome at
achieve
all.
such a result.
Damn it!
He was
What
even
is
more
Ziyang
shocked
doing?
when he saw that
Blood
Lin
Hand
Xian
said
was
coldly,
full of energy.
"Humph, trash."
His aura was sharp,
Nangong Hao
and he
snorted
didn't
in
look tired
disdain.
at all.
And his
That was
expression
because he had
full
sent
of
an
disdain.
expert from the
He
Purple Demon Hall
ghostly
yesterday.
laughed sinisterly.
He was very
and his
proficient
eyes
in
flickered.
illusions.
No one knew what he
Furthermore,
was thinking.
that old
The
man
other
was a veteran
prodigies
of
had
100
different
battles.
expressions.
He
But
would
without
definitely
exception,
find the best
their
opportunity
eyes
to
were full of
strike.
disdain.
Even for
Because
geniuses
to
like them,
Ziyang's
if they were to
actions
be
were too
ambushed,
cowardly.
they would most
Not
likely
only
fall
did he
for his
embarrass the
illusions.
Purple Demon Hall
At that time,
but he also
although he
embarrassed
would be
the
able to
entire Black
escape,
Dragon sect.
his soul power would
Damn
definitely
trash,
be
as
severely
timid as a
damaged.
mouse. Even
Such
if he
a
didn't
person
die,
doesn't
he would
deserve
be
to stand
severely
with us.
injured.
Hearing the
This was the
disdainful
power of
voices
the
of the
Purple
other
Demon
7
Hall.
prodigies.
But now,
Ziyang's
it
face
seemed
darkened.
that the other party
He was
didn't
so
receive
angry
any
that his
damage at
body
all.
trembled.
It was
and
as
his
if he hadn't
fists were
been
clenched
affected by the
tightly.
illusion.
Those words
This
were like
caused Ziyang
poisonous
to be
thorns
extremely
that pierced
shocked.
his heart.
He knew
And
that
he
there were
couldn't bear
only
it.
2
There
possibilities.
was even a moment
The
when
first
he wanted
was that
to
the other
charge
party
forward
was too
without a care.
terrifying. However,
And the
when
experts
he
he
thought
sent
of the
out were
results
killed
of his analysis,
before they could even
he
use their
stopped himself
illusions.
and didn't go
If this
forward.
was true,
Lin
it
Xian
meant
was
that
also
the other
very
party's
surprised.
strength was far
He looked
beyond
at
his
Ziyang in
imagination.
surprise,
Even
then
if he
nodded
attacked
slightly.
with his full strength.
Interesting.
He might not be able
bad.
to resist.
You can recognize
the second
situation
and
was
know
that
when
although
to
the other
advance and
party was
retreat.
hit by an
You're
illusion
not too
attack,
stupid.
they could
In that
easily
case,
break it.
it'll spare your life.
So they didn't suffer
After
any
saying
injuries.
that,
Lin
if that
Xian
was the
moved
case,
and went
it would
to
be
the
even
spot
more
that
shocking.
Ziyang had vacated.
One had to know that the
He
other
went up,
party
he really went up.
had already
When
displayed
the crowd
a
saw
valiant
Lin
fighting
Xian
strength.
go up to the
If
octadic
he also
treasure
had an
chest game,
extremely strong
they were
soul
all
force,
excited.
then
To
such
be
a
honest,
person
they
would
had
have
never
no
heard
weakness.
of Lin Xian's
It could
name
be
before,
said to be heaven-defying.
and they didn't know that
Then
this
it was
person
even more
existed.
impossible for him
It wasn't
to attack.
until the dark and
Because
light
even if his
convention,
illusions were
when he
stronger
appeared
than
in
the
an
purple
extremely
robe
arrogant
elders,
manner,
he might
that
not
they
be
learned
able
of
to
this
do
person.
anything to the other party.
After thinking about it,
After that,
Ziyang
the other
felt
party's
bitter
actions
because
were
he
even
realized
more
that
shocking.
no matter what the
First,
situation
he looked
was,
down on Nangong
the other
Hao and
party
made him
was
stronger
stronger
than
pills.
him.
Then
If
the
he
next
attacked,
day,
he would lose
he killed
without
the
a
Shira
doubt.
Hall's elder.
Based on the
He
other
even
party's
beat up the
previous
Blood Fiend
form.
Hall. No one
Not
could
only
escape
that, but
unscathed.
after that,
He also avoided the assassination attempts of various prodigies. It could be said that in just 2 days, Lin Xian's reputation had soared, and even overshadowed those prodigies. Now that they saw him go up, they were even more excited. Although the previous conflict was intense, Lin Xian didn't directly fight with those prodigies, so they didn't know who was stronger and who was weaker. Chapter 1383. Now that they saw him enter the arena, they were even more excited. Although the conflict had been intense, Lin Xian had not directly fought with those sky prides. Therefore, they did not know who was stronger and who was weaker. However, today the mystery would be revealed, because in the octadic treasure chest game, those geniuses would definitely fight. At that time, they would know who was the strongest among the geniuses. On the octadic treasure chest game, the other 7 geniuses snorted when they saw Lin Xian. All eyes fell on him, and their murderous intent was not concealed. On the other hand, Lin Xian didn't care at all. He swept his gaze around and said indifferently, "I advise the 7 of you to be sensible and back off quickly, lest you get killed when the time comes." "Humph, kid, you're too arrogant. The octadic treasure chest game is not a place where you can behave atrociously. Although you were very arrogant before, that was because I didn't make a move. Now that you're facing me, I can crush you with one hand." Bloodhand's expression was cold as the sea of blood behind him surged. "I originally wanted to wait for the octadic treasure chest game to finish you off, but since you're in a hurry to die, it's good that you came up yourself. I'll kill you with my own hands. Kid, hand over the blood soul stone, and kneel down to accept your death. I can give you a quick death." Yu Luosha's voice was cold as she stared at Lin Xian fiercely, as if she wanted to tear him apart. Haha, your soul belongs to me. The 7 geniuses all stared at Lin Xian and were ready to attack. At that moment, the incense stick had completely burned out. The octatic treasure chest game released a bright light that completely enveloped Lin Xian and the others. Everyone's hearts were also in their mouths because they knew that the octatic treasure chest game had been completely activated. The octatic treasure chest game was extremely mysterious. Once it was activated, outsiders could not interfere at all. The 8 geniuses inside had to use themselves as chess pieces to attack. "I'll go first," Bloodhand shouted as his body emitted endless light. The blood-colored aura shot up into the sky like a long river of blood that came from the 9 heavens. At that moment, Bloodhand was extremely powerful. He also took a step forward and moved forward by 1 square. Wang. Suddenly, a chess piece appeared in front of him. It was an illusion formed by the octatic treasures chess game. It was a black ghost stone. After the blood hand moved, it quickly turned into a black armored cultivator. His entire body was wrapped in an ice-cold black armor, and he looked exceptionally fierce. That biting cold aura caused the surrounding void to distort. The mysterious black armored warrior did not wield any weapons. He simply swung his fists and punched forward. Boom! He threw out a punch, causing the void to tremble. The terrifying fist shadow shone in all directions and directly enveloped the bloody hand. At the same time, Snow Hand also roared. Blood River 9 Tremors first tremor get lost. He waved his palm, and a strong spiritual power surged, turning into a scarlet palm that slammed forward. A red light flashed, and a pungent smell of blood filled the air. A terrifying force crashed into the black armored cultivator, instantly piercing through him. In the next instant, the black-armored martial artist transformed into a beam of light, smearing into the octatic treasure chest game, vanishing from sight. As for Bloodhand, he had successfully taken a step forward. After this step, the entire octatic treasure chest game started to move. The chess pieces on the chessboard moved quickly, attacking the other 7 people. A black ghost stone turned into a pitch-black leopard. It had a pair of black wings on its back, and it was extremely valiant, releasing a terrifying aura. Its 4 limbs jumped, and it transformed into a beam of black light, quickly attacking Nangong Hao. The aura that it emitted caused the surrounding martial artists to be terrified. This was because they knew that the aura could easily kill a 9th heaven honorable. Nangong Hao snorted coldly, and his eyes were filled with disdain. Then, a ball of purple flames appeared on his palm. He waved his palm gently, and countless purple flames jumped, forming a huge purple flame light palm that flew out quickly. The void trembled, and the terrifying body covered the sky, as if it was going to crush everything. Boom! The terrifying heat burned, and the black leopard was instantly burned to ashes. On the other side, ghostly wails and howls could be heard. Countless ghosts flew around quickly, and they surrounded a cold figure. Guili was like the king of ghosts. He brought countless ghosts with him, and he quickly fought with a white-armored martial artist in front of him. Soon he also finished off his opponent. Yu Luosha smiled, and a folding fan appeared in her hand. She quickly opened it, and countless peach blossom petals formed a human face. Human face peach blossom fan. In the next moment, the folding fan waved gently, and pink fog surged out. It quickly floated to the front, tearing the black-armored man in front of her apart. Feng Hudi's expression was cold. She held a black spear, and her opponent was a white-robed martial artist. The battle was very simple. Feng Hudi only stabbed her spear once. Then, she killed her opponent completely. Shadowless was even more impressive. He was like a ghost, silently killing his opponent in an instant. Gu Yuan, who was sent by the Southern Desolation ancient town, was also very skilled. He displayed powerful battle strength, and he forcefully shattered his opponent with a palm. In another corner, Lin Xian looked at the white figures that were slowly forming in front of him, and he narrowed his eyes. He had been with the dark red divine dragon for many years, and his attainments in array formations were very terrifying. Therefore, he could sense that these figures were formed by the array formation, and they were very powerful. Ordinary 9th heaven supremacies were no match for them. However, Lin Xian did not take it to heart. He punched out and shattered his opponent. Then his eyes swept across the surroundings. His goal was the mysterious crystal, so he had to find where it was first. Was it hidden in the octatic treasure chest game? Or was it a reward for the final victor? However, in the next moment he understood. This was because he realized that the other 7 people were all heading towards the center of the octatic treasure chest game. It seemed that there was something there that attracted them, and the only thing that could attract the 7 of them was definitely that mysterious crystal. It seemed that the mysterious crystal should be in the center of this array formation. At that thought, Lin Xian did not hesitate and strode forward. With every step he took, a chess piece would transform into a terrifying existence and attack him. Moreover, he realized that the closer he got to the center, the stronger the transformed martial artists were. When the surrounding cultivators saw this, they all became excited. Exciting, too exciting. The 8 people on the stage were all top prodigies, and their skills were extremely terrifying. They had never seen this kind of battle before. Moreover, the Heaven sect would not usually make a move, but now they saw it. And it was 8 prodigies attacking at the same time. Look, Bloodhand and Ghostly are fighting! Everyone exclaimed, and they were very excited. Indeed, on the octatic treasure chest game, as they got closer to the center, the distance between them also got closer. Finally, someone could not help but make a move. Chapter 1384. Look, Bloodhand and Ghostly are fighting! Everyone exclaimed in excitement. Sure enough, as they got closer to the center of the octatic treasure chessboard, the distance between them shortened. Finally, someone couldn't help but make a move. Bloodhand was fighting with a black-armored warrior. Behind him, Ghostly took 3 steps forward and suddenly charged at Bloodhand. Ghosts wailed and wolves howled. A chilly wind blew. Ghostly held the white bone banner in his hand and waved it rapidly. Ghosts turned into materialized ferocious ghosts and pounced forward. The ferocious ghosts could easily tear the void apart with a casual pounce. Get lost! Bloodhand roared as a terrifying light burst out from his body. The blood-colored river behind him surged. With a wave of his hand, blood-colored palms blasted out in all directions, instantly sending the ferocious ghosts flying. Haha, give me your soul! Ghostly saw that his attack was sent flying, but he still quickly made a move. The white bone banner in his hand blew up countless chilly winds. A white claw reached out from it and grabbed at Blood Hand, as if it wanted to tear it apart. Clang! Blood Hand's expression was cold. With a roar, he quickly pulled out a blood-colored long saber and slashed horizontally. A ray of blood-colored light splashed out like a long river. The terrifying blood-colored long saber blasted onto the white bone banner. It was like an ancient ferocious beast that erupted with terrifying power. The two collided, emitting the sound of metal and stone colliding. After one strike, the two were evenly matched. However, because Ghostly took 3 steps to kill Blood Hand, 3 black chess warriors appeared beside him and quickly charged at him. Ghostly snorted and quickly retreated. He no longer fought with Blood Hand and focused on dealing with the 3 black chess warriors. Because they were very close to the center of the octatic treasure chessboard, the black chess warriors that appeared here were also very terrifying. Moreover, with 3 of them working together, even Ghostly would have to put in some effort. From this, one could see the pattern of the array. Every time a warrior took a step forward, it would attract a chess warrior to attack. Previously, Ghostly took 3 steps forward, which naturally attracted 3 black chess warriors. On the other side, Feng Huti and Yuluosha were also fighting. The 2 of them fought fiercely, and then quickly pulled away from each other. Up until now, no one had experienced a life-and-death battle. They were all just probing. After Lin Xian killed a few chess pieces, he finally encountered other sky prides. On his left was a handsome young man, Gu Yuan from the southern wasteland ancient town. When Gu Yuan saw Lin Xian rushing over from behind, his face immediately darkened. He was a member of the City Lord's mansion. Previously, Lin Xian had beaten up the enforcers, completely disregarding the City Lord's mansion. This was undoubtedly a slap to the City Lord's mansion's face. As a prodigy of the City Lord's mansion, how could Gu Yuan tolerate it? Therefore, when he saw Lin Xian, he naturally had to make a move. Brat, you actually dared to attack the law enforcement team. Today, I will teach you a good lesson. I'll let you know that there are some people you can't afford to offend. Gu Yuan's expression was ferocious, as he quickly stabbed the long sword in his hand behind him. A sword light flashed like a meteor, and quickly blasted towards Lin Xian. Humph! A puny martial artist from the City Lord's mansion also dares to clamor with me? It's more appropriate for your City Lord to talk to me personally. Lin Xian snorted coldly, his expression full of disdain. Then he threw out a punch. The terrifying fist carried an unparalleled lightning, as it illuminated the surroundings. The violent power crushed the entire void. This punch was too terrifying. The light was so dazzling that no one could open their eyes. Boom! The lightning fist fiercely smashed onto the opponent's sword chi, causing a huge explosion in the void. In an instant, the opponent's sword chi turned into fragments and scattered all over the ground. It was shattered. That's impossible. In front of him, Gu Yuan's eyes were like lightning. They were like 2 sword lights that carried an unparalleled light. He naturally saw the scene of the sword light being shattered, and immediately screamed. Shocking. It was simply too shocking. He didn't expect the opponent's fist to be so powerful that it could shatter his sword light. Not only that, the fist didn't suffer any injuries, and was still rapidly charging towards him. Damn it, get lost. Gu Yuan's pupils shrank as he roared crazily. He quickly condensed his defensive power and activated the armor on his body. However, the punch still landed solidly on his body, causing him to take 5 steps back. Immediately, 5 chess piece warriors quickly formed and charged towards him. On the other hand, Lin Xian frowned. He sensed that most of the force of his punch had been neutralized by the formation the moment his fist landed on the man's body. Only a small portion of the force had landed on the man's body. Therefore, the opponent only took 5 steps back. Otherwise, under normal circumstances, this punch would have definitely turned the opponent into a bloody mist. Reducing the damage? This formation was quite interesting. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He realized that this octatic treasure chess game was more magical than he had imagined. The method of reducing the damage was undoubtedly to protect the people in the formation. It seemed that it wasn't easy to kill people in the chess game. However, Lin Xian didn't pay too much attention to it. It didn't make any difference to him whether he killed the opponent or not, because in his eyes, these people were all ants. There was no difference between being alive and being dead. The only thing he paid attention to was the mysterious crystal in the center. Therefore, in the next moment, he withdrew his fist and turned to look forward. You, die. Gu Yuan, who was beside him, was in a sorry state after being pushed back. Not only that, he also suffered internal injuries and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. After killing the 5 chess-piece warriors around him with difficulty, Gu Yuan stared fiercely at Lin Xian, with a vicious look in his eyes. Damn it! Damn it! The other party had actually forced her to retreat, and even injured her. Moreover, everyone had seen this scene, which was unbearable for him. As a genius of the city governor's mansion, he thought that he wasn't inferior to the geniuses of the other halls. This time, he was full of confidence and wanted to obtain the mysterious crystal. Therefore, he didn't take Lin Xian seriously at all. When they met just now, a murderous intent rose in his heart. He wanted to make Lin Xian embarrass himself in front of everyone, so that he could save the face of the city governor's mansion's law enforcement team. However, he didn't expect that as soon as they exchanged blows, he realized that he was wrong. Lin Xian's strength was far beyond his imagination, so much so that he was defeated in a sorry state. Kid, you will pay for your actions. After I obtain the mysterious crystal, I will definitely kill you. Gu Yuan's body was full of murderous intent. He had decided that after obtaining the mysterious crystal, he would definitely not let Lin Xian off. When the surrounding warriors saw this scene, they were all terrified. They didn't expect Lin Xian to be so powerful that he could push Gu Yuan back with one punch. One should know that the previous geniuses were just testing each other. They were evenly matched, and there was no obvious winner or loser. However, Lin Xian's side was different. That punch had directly pushed Gu Yuan back. This undoubtedly showed that Lin Xian's strength was above Gu Yuan's. This was also the first time a genius had a winner. Chapter 1385. The previous battles between the Sky Prides were merely probing each other. They were evenly matched, and there was no clear winner or loser. However, Lin Xian's side was different. His punch had forced Gu Yuan to retreat. This undoubtedly meant that Lin Xian's strength was above Gu Yuan's. This was also the first time a victor had been decided between 2 Sky Prides. The surrounding Sky Prides were also shocked. Their faces darkened when they saw this scene. Nangong Hao snorted coldly. However, he did not look relaxed. Bloodhand's expression was solemn. He realized that his opponent's strength had once again exceeded his imagination. He had to be careful. The others looked ferocious while Lin Xian looked calm. However, he frowned in the next moment and suddenly threw a punch to his right. Get lost! Everyone was stunned. They did not know what he was doing, because there was clearly no one on his right. However, they were all stunned very soon. That was because when Lin Xian threw a punch, a figure quickly appeared in the void on his right and quickly retreated. It was Shadowless who attacked. Everyone was stunned. They did not expect the king of assassins to assassinate Lin Xian at the critical moment and almost succeed. However, the other Sky Pride's pupils constricted and their expressions became extremely solemn. They did not expect Lin Xian to be able to discover Shadowless tracks and force him to retreat. This was too shocking. One had to know that Shadowless assassination skills were extremely terrifying. Even they had a headache dealing with it. Many people could not even discover Shadowless, and could only counterattack at the moment when he attacked. But now, Lin Xian had discovered Shadowless and attacked him when he was about 10 meters away, forcing him to retreat. Didn't this mean that he had discovered Shadowless' existence in advance? Damn it, how did this guy do it? He actually discovered Shadowless' existence. The Sky Prides were very confused. Meanwhile, Shadowless' face darkened. He did not expect Lin Xian to be able to discover his tracks and attack so decisively. He did not even have the chance to get close to Lin Xian. Who is this guy? How did he discover me? He was too shocked. Lin Xian's sharpness was beyond his expectations. Moreover, this had never happened before. One had to know that he was not called the king of assassins for nothing. He had never failed before. Even those with higher cultivation than him had been successfully assassinated by him. That was why he was called the king of assassins. However, he had failed now, and he had failed at the hands of a young man who was younger than him. He could not believe it. But little did he know that his bit of cultivation was not even worth an ant in Lin Xian's eyes. One had to know that although Shadowless was powerful, he was only equivalent to those 5-star assassins that Lin Xian had brought along. Lin Xian, on the other hand, was an existence that even Luo Bingshan would tremble upon seeing. Shadowless. 1. The others didn't know about this, and Shadowless didn't either. His expression was solemn as he quickly tried to figure out how the other party had discovered him. Therefore, he could only give up on assassinating Lin Xian and look for other prey. Next, everyone tried again. However, no one dared to provoke Lin Xian. Because of the previous 2 attacks, they knew that Lin Xian's strength was more terrifying than they had imagined. Even the king of assassins, Shadowless, could not get close. This was undoubtedly a warning. Finally, after a series of battles, everyone arrived at the central area. Next, please place your bets. At this moment, a low voice came from the octatic treasure chessboard. The voice was cold and emotionless like a machine. Hearing this voice, Lin Xian was stunned. The other prodigies were expressionless. They quickly took out the treasures they had prepared from their storage rings and placed them in front of them. Lin Xian was stunned for a moment. Then, he understood that this was something like a bet. Therefore, Lin Xian took out something from his storage ring. It was an Earth Street treasured long blade. Seeing this long blade, everyone had different expressions. Shadow's face darkened, and he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. This was because the long blade Lin Xian took out was the one he had bought from the auction. However, it was later snatched away by Lin Xian. That was a treasured blade. He had spent millions of spiritual stones to buy it. He did not expect it to be snatched away by Lin Xian. Now Lin Xian was using it as a bet. This was infuriating. Moreover, what made him even angrier was that if he had that long blade now, his strength would definitely increase by leaps and bounds. If that was the case, he would definitely succeed in assassinating Lin Xian. However, now that everything was gone, he could only watch helplessly. The other prodigies' faces darkened as well. This was because Lin Xian had not only snatched that one item. All the treasures they had bought from the auction had been snatched away by Lin Xian. This time, seeing Lin Xian take out an item from the auction, their faces were terrifyingly dark. Yu Luosha gritted her teeth and said, "Kid, do you dare to take out the Blood Soul Stone as a bet? Don't even think about the Blood Soul Stone. I've already absorbed all of it," Lin Xian said calmly. I'm going to kill you." Hearing this, her face turned pale and she stomped her feet. She wanted nothing more than to pounce on Lin Xian and kill him right now. However, she did not have the chance because the octatic treasure chest game changed again. Under the feet of Lin Xian and the other prodigies, balls of light were emitted and enveloped all of them. Then, the light around them dimmed as if they had arrived in a special space. Just as Lin Xian was about to investigate, the space in front of him rippled, and another figure appeared. It was a handsome young man in a robe. He had an arrogant expression on his face, as if he did not care about anyone. Nangong Hao. Lin Xian smiled faintly when he saw that figure. When Nangong Hao saw Lin Xian, he was stunned at first. Then he revealed a sinister smile. "Ha ha ha ha. Kid, I have to say that your luck is really bad. You actually met me on your first try. Very well, let me send you on your way. I'll let you know the consequences of provoking me." Nangong Hao's voice was sinister, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. He did not have a good impression of Lin Xian in front of him. Not only did Lin Xian snatch his spiritual medicine, but he also stepped on his head. This was something that the arrogant him could not tolerate. Lin Xian directly ignored him. He walked in all directions and said with a frown, "What is this place? Is this a martial arts competition? Only the winner can walk out?" Lin Xian did not understand. However, from the looks of it, the 8 of them should have been divided into mini groups and competed with each other. Only the winner could walk out successfully and proceed to the next step. As for why he and Nangong Hao were placed together, Lin Xian did not understand yet. Perhaps it was random distribution, or perhaps it was related to the stakes. Nangong Hao's eyes were sinister, and his expression was cold. His entire body emitted a murderous aura, but he did not attack. Chapter 1386. However, in the next moment he understood. After the 2 of them entered, the void fluctuated again, and another figure appeared. It was a human figure, or more precisely a shadow. It was only a vague outline, and even his face could not be seen clearly. Only a low voice could be heard. 2 people were assigned to each other. Only the winner could proceed to the next round, and the loser would be eliminated. The voice was also cold, mechanical, and emotionless. The shadow continued. This time we'll be using flames. Whoever has the strongest eye of fire will be the winner. What? A competition of flames? Lin Xian was confused. He had never seen such a competition
this brat
before.
is wasting time
when
here.
Nangong Hao heard
Seeing
this,
Nangong
he burst
Hao's
out
smug
laughing.
look.
Lin Xian
Ha, ha,
shook
ha.
his head slightly.
The heavens are helping
What a
me.
fool. Boy,
In the
you
next
dare to
moment,
compete with
he
me in
snapped
flames?
his fingers.
You're dead. And a black flame
He was
appeared on his
overjoyed.
index
Lin
finger.
Xian's performance
the flame
had
was
shocked
deep,
him.
and
His
as soon
strength
as it
was
appeared,
completely beyond
the
his
surrounding void was
expectations.
scorched and
Therefore,
distorted.
he was very worried
Not only
at
that,
first,
but there
he
was
also
also
an
that the
extremely
competition
hot
would be a
energy
direct
accompanying
fight.
the black flame.
Because if that was the
Even
case,
the purple
he
flame
really
on
didn't have
Nangong
much
Hao's
confidence
body
in
dimmed
winning.
instantly.
But
As
now,
if it was frightened.
the competition
Feeling
was
the
actually a
change in the
competition
purple
of
flame on
flames.
his body.
This made him very
Hao's
happy.
expression
Among the
changed
7
drastically.
geniuses,
In the
he
next
was a
moment,
member of the
he
Divine
looked at
Pill
Lin
Hall.
Xian and screamed.
Moreover, among the
Impossible.
fire-based martial artists,
What kind of flame
no
is
one
this?
had a stronger
It
flame
can actually
than him.
scare my purple
Nangong
river
Hao was
spiritual
even
fire?
confident that,
Brat, how
except
did you
for
do
the
it?
mysterious
He
fire
was stunned,
spirit,
really stunned.
no one could
His
beat
opponent
his flame.
actually had a black
Although his
flame,
opponent was
which really
mysterious
surprised him.
from the strength
Moreover,
that he had displayed,
from the aura that was
he
emitted,
could tell that his
he knew
opponent
that it was
had the thunder and
definitely
not a
not
flame
attributes.
condensed with
He
spiritual
definitely
power,
did not have the
but
fire
a kind of
attribute.
strange flame.
Therefore,
It was even
the
more
flame that his
terrifying
opponent
than his
had
purple
condensed
river
with
spiritual
spiritual
power. was
because
just
when
an
the purple
ordinary
flame
flame.
appeared,
It was
the
definitely
purple flame
not
on his
comparable
body
to the
dimmed
flame in his
instantly.
hand.
This kind of thing had
also
never
grinned,
happened before,
competing with him
even
in
when
flames?
he faced the fire
What
spirit.
a death-seeking
It had never
question.
happened before.
Even the two terrifying
Damn it,
fire
impossible.
spirits were burned
I
to
don't
ashes
believe it.
by his
How
black
can you
flame
have
martial
such a
soul.
magical flame?
One could imagine
Aren't you
how
an
powerful
ice-based
his
martial
black
artist?
flame martial soul
How
was.
can you have a flame?
Now they were competing
How
with
can
flames?
ice and fire exist
Wasn't this
in a
giving him
person's body
points?
at the same time?
Looking at Nangong Hao's
Hao
arrogant
screamed
look,
crazily.
Lin Xian asked
Then,
with a smile,
as if he had thought
you
of
seem
something,
to be very happy.
he looked in front of him
Kid,
in shock.
are you an idiot?
Could it be the
Nangong
black
Hao
dragon
sneered.
flame on the
In
sect
the leader
leader?
of the divine
Thinking
pill
of
hall,
this, his body
and I have an
trembled.
extremely
If it was
powerful
really
flame.
the black dragon
Moreover,
sect leader's flame,
I have a flame
he
martial
would definitely
spirit.
lose.
What do you have to
no
compete
matter how
with me?
powerful his purple
Other
river
than a
spiritual
natural
fire
fire
spirit?
was. It
No
could
one
not
else
be
in the
compared
younger
to the
the
black
black
dragon
dragon
has a
flame.
stronger flame than
Humph.
me.
Lin
Nangong
Xian
Hao
snorted
voice was
coldly
sonorous,
and did not explain.
and his words were full
It
of
was
confidence.
better for him to misunderstand.
However, Lin Xian
However,
smiled disdainfully.
after Nangong
So
Hao
you're
recovered
saying
from
that
his
you still
shock,
can't compare
he
to
shook
Hu
his
Ling?
head crazily.
Even the two fire
No,
spirits were
it's
killed
not
by
the
me,
black dragon
let alone
flame.
you.
I
I've
really
seen the
don't know
sect
what you're
leader
so
flame
happy
before.
about.
Although
Stop
it's also
trying to
black,
scare me.
its aura is
Although
different.
I don't know how the two fire
Brat,
spirits
what kind of
disappeared.
flame is this?
I think it's
Trash like
definitely
you
not
is not
caused by your
qualified
true
to know
strength.
the name of this flame.
Moreover, I
Lin
admit
Xian
that you're
snorted
strong,
coldly and
but
shook
what we're
his head.
competing in here is
You,
not strength,
you,
but flames.
die.
Do you have a
Nangong Hao's
flame martial
expression was
spirit?
ferocious.
Do you have a
He
deviant
clenched
flame?
his fists,
You
and
have
his
nothing.
entire body
You
trembled.
still dare to be arrogant
Was he being
here?
looked down upon?
Brat,
No
I'll
one
let you
had
know
ever
what the
dared to
difference
look down
between
on
heaven and earth
This
is.
was intolerable.
Nangong Hao's
However,
expression was
seeing
arrogant,
the black flame in
and
his
even his
opponent's
nostrils
hand,
were almost in the
Nangong Hao
sky.
hesitated
In the
again.
next moment,
That
he
flame
snorted
was too
coldly,
terrifying,
and countless
he was
purple
not
flames
confident
surged
that he
out
could
from his
withstand
body.
it. Forming
However,
a purple
at this
flame
moment,
armor
the
on
cold
his
voice
body.
sounded again.
Brat, listen
The
carefully.
winner has been decided.
This is the purple
After
river
saying
spiritual
that,
fire,
Lin Xian's feet
which
shone,
came from
and
underground,
he instantly
and
returned
was
to the
formed after
octatic treasure
thousands of
chest
years
game.
of nurturing. Even a ninth-level honorable
In fact,
couldn't withstand
when
a
Lin
trace
Xian
of my
entered the
flame,
special space,
let alone you.
The other
You
sky
better
prides
admit
had also
defeat
entered the
obediently,
special space to
because
fight.
the flame that
The
you
content
condensed
of each
with your
battle was
spiritual
different.
power is
Therefore,
nothing in front of
before
me.
these sky prides
Nangong Hao
entered,
looked up to the
they
sky
did not
and
know
laughed.
who they would be
He
fighting
was like a fire god,
and what they would be
looking
fighting
down
about.
at Lin Xian. Lord Array Spirit, quickly kick him out. Chapter 1387. In fact, when Lin Xian entered the special space, the other Sky Prides had also entered the special space to fight. The content of each battle was different. Therefore, before these Sky Prides entered, they did not know who they would be fighting and what they would be fighting about. However, it did not take long for the outcome to be decided. The three victors were Wuxia, Bloodhand, and Shadowless. As for Feng Huti, Gui Li, and Gu Yuan, they had all failed. The three of them had ugly expressions. They retreated to the side and could not get close to the center at all. The remaining three did not relax because this was only the first round and had not reached the end. They had to defeat everyone to obtain the mysterious crystal. In the next moment, the three of them looked to the side because they realized that Lin Xian and Nangong Hao had not come out yet. I didn't expect that kid to be in the same space as Nangong Hao. I'm afraid he's doomed this time, Shadowless said in a deep voice. Humph. That kid got lucky. If I had met him, I would have killed him myself. Wuxia snorted coldly. Bloodhand, on the other hand, had a cold expression. Nangong Hao is very powerful and not easy to deal with. Looks like I have to be 120% focused in the next round. In their opinion, Nangong Hao would definitely be the winner because he was too powerful. Even they did not have the confidence to defeat him. Not to mention Lin Xian. Soon, there was a flash of light and a figure appeared. He's out. Everyone took a deep breath and looked over. However, they were soon stunned on the spot. How could it be him? How is this possible? Everyone was stunned because they realized that the first person to come out was Lin Xian. And the first one to come out would be the winner. They did not expect that the winner would be Lin Xian. Damn it, how is this possible? How could it be him? Everyone was shocked. The martial artists who were watching from afar exclaimed. They knew how powerful Nangong Hao was. He was even qualified to be the number one among the younger generation. However, he had been defeated. He had been defeated by a young man who was younger and even more arrogant than him. What exactly were they competing for? Nangong Hao had actually lost. Gui Li, Feng Huti, and the others were shocked. They couldn't imagine what kind of situation could defeat Nangong Hao. Gu Feng's expression was also cold. He coldly snorted. Humph, it must be Han Bing from the competition. Nangong Hao is a fire attribute martial artist. Naturally, he is not proficient in the ice attribute. That's why he lost. Or maybe it's lightning. That brat is also a thunder attribute martial artist, Bloodhand said in a deep voice. Yes, that must be it. It must be that kid's field of expertise. Otherwise, Nangong Hao wouldn't have lost. These people kept hypnotizing themselves to comfort their shocked hearts. Lin Xian sneered in his heart. He took a step forward and stood at the front with his hands behind his back. On the other hand, Nangong Hao's face was terrifyingly dark. It was as if he had eaten a dead rat. He reluctantly went to the rear. At this moment, Gu Yuan quickly asked, Nangong Hao, what exactly did you compete in? How could he lose? He could not believe that the winner would actually be Lin Xian. Moreover, he had just lost to Lin Xian, so he wanted to know the truth of the matter even more. However, Nangong Hao coldly snorted and did not say a word. How could he say it out loud? They competed in the flame that he was best at. Losing in the field that he was best at. He would never say such a thing even if he was beaten to death, because he could not afford to lose face. Seeing Nangong Hao's expression, everyone's hearts sank. They realized that things might be worse than they had imagined. However, they did not have the time to think too much because soon, one of the three of them would be facing Lin Xian. The treasures that their opponents had used as collateral now belonged to them. At this moment, they were floating in front of them, constantly floating and being distributed. In the next moment, a light flashed and Lin Xian and the other three disappeared. It was a dark space again, and the light was flickering. Lin Xian's figure flashed. However, this time, he did not look around, because even if he did, he would not be able to find anything. He might as well wait for the competition. This time, his opponent was Shadowless. When Shadowless saw Lin Xian, his expression instantly turned ugly. One had to know that he had been knocked back by Lin Xian's punch, and even suffered internal injuries. Now that he saw his opponent, His heart could not help but tremble. Damn it, please don't let me fight him directly. Shadowless prayed in his heart. If they fought directly, he did not have the confidence to defeat his opponent. It would be better to compete in something that he was best at. Next to him, a blurry figure appeared. Instantly a cold voice was heard. This time we'll compete in speed. What? Speed. Hearing this, Shadowless, who had always been calm, jumped up in joy. Speed, that was what he was best at. As an assassin, he was best at concealment, speed, and timing. Only by mastering these three could one become an excellent assassin. Furthermore, he was the king of assassins, so his speed was needless to say. Perhaps even Nangong Hao and Blood Rogue could not catch up to him. Thinking of this, he grinned. It seemed that even the heavens were helping him. Haha kid, you're dead. Competing in speed with me, you have no chance at all. Although I don't know how you found me before. I will definitely take revenge this time. Just wait to admit defeat. Shadowless sneered and swore to kill his opponent. Lin Xian also shook his head in disdain. As expected, these disciples of the Black Dragon cult are all arrogant and have never seen the real world. Competing in speed with him was courting death. One had to know that he had the illusory demonic steps and the wind and thunder wings. His speed could be said to be extremely fast, even comparable to a half-step king. In addition, he also had the sea god's ice. That terrifying cold air could definitely slow down the speed of the martial artists around him to the extreme, even slower than a snail. Of course, there was no need to use the sea god's ice to deal with Shadowless. He could definitely kill him with just his movement technique. In the dark space, the void rippled, and two rays of light appeared on both sides, floating in the void. The distance between the two rays of light was not long, only 10 feet. At this moment, a cold voice sounded. Run back and forth between the two rays of light for a total of 10,000 times. Whoever finishes first wins. Hearing this, Lin Xian nodded. Indeed, a distance of 10 feet was just a blink of an eye for them. However, to run 10,000 times while maintaining a high speed was quite challenging. Shadowless sneered. Kid, just wait for your death. Then, the two stood on the same side, and as the cold voice sounded, the two started to move. Whoosh! The two turned into lightning phantoms and moved quickly. They were extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, they had already completed 10 times. Chapter 1388. Whoosh, whoosh. The two of them turned into lightning phantoms and moved quickly. In the blink of an eye, they had completed dozens of rounds. If there were martial artists here, they would definitely scream. Teleportation, this was teleportation. The two of them were so fast that they left behind afterimages in the air. Time passed bit by bit. Not only did they not slow down, they even sped up. One had to admit that it was indeed shocking. 3,000 rounds is enough. There are still 7,000 rounds left. Humph, he dares to compete with me in speed. That kid is definitely dead. Shadowless snorted in his heart. The next moment, his pupils constricted because he found that Lin Xian suddenly appeared and stopped beside him. What's going on? Why did he stop? Shadowless was puzzled. Humph, what a piece of trash. He can't even take 3,000 rounds? It seems that I overestimated him. Shadowless sneered in his heart and became even more proud. Then, he sped up and moved quickly. However, at this moment a cold voice suddenly sounded. The competition is over. The winner has been decided. What? It's over? In the air, Shadowless was stunned and his body appeared. His mind went blank, and he could not believe his ears. What? It's over? How is that possible? I still have more than 7,000 rounds left. Shadowless shouted in exasperation. He thought that there was something wrong with the formation spirit. But soon his body trembled, and his voice stopped abruptly. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Could it be that the kid has finished? How is that possible? How can he be so fast? Shadowless was extremely shocked. Now he understood that the reason why Lin Xian stopped running was not because he was exhausted, but because he had finished running. However, he could not believe it at all. One had to know that he had only run 3,000 rounds at that time, and Lin Xian had already run 10,000 rounds. That was a difference of 3 times. Who could be 3 times faster than him in terms of speed? Perhaps even a half-step king could not do that. Unless it was a true king. However, Lin Xian's cultivation was only at the 8th level of the Venerable Realm, which was 1 level lower than his, but his speed was so fast. No, that's impossible. Shadowless seemed to have been struck by lightning. His mind went blank, and he could not believe it. Even his expression became dull, because he had suffered a great blow. Whoosh whoosh. 2 rays of light flashed and Lin Xian and Shadowless were forcefully sent out of the space. Then, the two of them appeared on the octatic treasure chest set. What's wrong? Who won? As soon as Lin Xian and Yi Xuan appeared, the gazes of the surrounding prodigies locked onto them. Countless cultivators below even craned their necks, their faces filled with anticipation. In the next moment, Nangong Hao, Blood Hand, and the other geniuses were all shocked because they found that Shadowless' eyes were lifeless. He stood there like a puppet, and his eyes had lost their luster. It can't be. His aura is so weak. Could he be seriously injured? Blood Hand frowned. Could it be that they are going to have a direct duel this time? Yu Luocha's expression was grave. Behind them, Nangong Hao, Gui Li, and the others were also shocked. They knew how strong Shadowless was. Although he had been punched by Lin Xian, they should be evenly matched if they really fought. But now, it seemed like Shadowless had lost his soul. Damn it, what the hell happened? Shadowless, say something. What exactly are you guys competing in? Could it be that you're seriously injured? Many people shouted coldly, wanting to know the inside story. However, Shadowless still refused to listen and remained rooted to the ground. Who's next? Lin Xian took another step forward and asked indifferently. Humph. Hearing Lin Xian's words, Yu Luocha snorted coldly and retreated to the side. Obviously, he had lost the duel with Blood Hand. Kid, I didn't expect you to be able to make it this far. But against me, you have no chance of winning. Blood Hand's expression was cold, and he was very confident. Let's wait until you come out. Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. Those 2 guys from before were also very arrogant, but you've seen how they are now. I hope you'll be better than them when you come out later. Everyone had failed, and only Lin Xian and Blood Hand were left. In the next moment, the 2 of them disappeared again. This time, the duel was very direct. It was a direct duel. Blood Hand roared excitedly. He was the #1 division leader of the Blood Fiend Hall, and was a true battle maniac. If he was asked to compete in other things, he really wouldn't be willing. A direct duel was the most suitable choice for him. Kid, I'll split you in half later and let you know how powerful I am. Of course, if you can obediently hand over the Blood Soul Stone, I'll take your life and let you lose with dignity. Bloodhand's blood aura bloomed like a powerful god of war, looking disdainfully at everyone. Lin Xian said indifferently, I wanted to play with you, but if it's a direct duel, then I'll finish you quickly. Arrogant. Kid, since you're so stubborn, then die for me. Bloodhand roared, and a blood-red river appeared behind him. Blood River 9 tremors in unison. In the next moment, he pushed out both palms, and 9 blood-red palms rushed out quickly, blasting towards Lin Xian. For a moment, the entire void trembled rapidly, unable to withstand this power. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed, and his palms quickly formed a seal. Firmament 9 changes, Juyin change. As the palms fell, a huge red ape appeared. Then, the red ape roared into the sky, and with a shake of its arms, it tore the 9 blood-red palms in front of it into pieces. What? This is impossible. Bloodhand's eyes narrowed, and he screamed in disbelief. That was his strongest attack, and the 9 palms could even kill a few ninth heaven supremacies. However, at this moment, it had been torn apart so easily. How could he believe this? However, what was even more frightening was yet to come. The red ape smashed the 9 palms with a punch, then lifted its huge foot and stomped towards Bloodhand. Rumble! The void collapsed and the ground sank. This foot was extremely terrifying, and it directly created a black hole. No! Bloodhand's face was filled with fear, and he no longer had the arrogance from before. In front of this power, he was like an ant that could be swallowed at any time. Boom! The huge foot landed, and Bloodhand was sent flying. This was even after the octatic treasure chest set had reduced its power by 90%. Otherwise, this foot would have turned him into minced meat. However, even with only 10% of its power left, it was not something that Bloodhand could resist. He immediately spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. In the outside world, after seeing Lin Xian and Bloodhand's figures disappear, the crowd immediately started discussing intensely. This was because this was the final battle, and the winner would not only obtain the treasures that the others had bet on, but also a mysterious crystal. Therefore, they were very concerned about this outcome. Many people even analyzed and discussed in detail, guessing who the final winner would be. I guess it must be Bloodhand. That guy is a battle maniac, and he's too terrifying. I'm afraid even Nangong Hao might not be able to suppress him. Chapter 1389. I'm guessing it must be Blood Rogue. That guy is a battle maniac. He's terrifying. Even Nangong Hao might not be able to suppress him. Of course, Blood Rogue is the number one among the younger generation. The disciples from Blood Fiend Hall were confident. It's hard to say. Hua Wufeng is very strange. He defeated Nangong Hao, Shadowless, and the rest. His strength is extremely strong. Who knows if he will create another miracle this time? What a joke. That guy must be lucky to have made it this far. Otherwise, he would have been defeated long ago. That's right. Just wait. My Lord Bloodhand will be able to kill him with a single palm strike. Are you out of your mind? He's not on the same level as our Lord Blood Rogue. The martial artists from Blood Fiend Hall sneered. Then someone exclaimed, "Look, someone's coming out." All of a sudden, everyone stopped discussing and focused their attention on the scene in front of them. Nangong Hao, Ghostly, and the rest held their breaths. When the first figure appeared, everyone was stunned. What? Why is it him again? Everyone was shocked when they realized that the first person to come out was Lin Xian again. Heavens, this guy is too powerful. He even defeated Blood Rogue? Dark Horse, he's definitely the biggest dark horse in our Saint sect. Everyone exclaimed. The disciples from Blood Fiend Hall were in despair. Impossible, he can't win. How can he defeat Lord Blood Rogue? Dream, I must be dreaming. Heavens, can anyone tell me what's going on? Many people screamed. Nangong Hao, Yuluosha, and the rest looked cold. The result was beyond their expectations. They did not believe that Lin Xian could last until the end and win first place. D***, why is this guy so lucky? He always manages to win. Yeah, I wonder what they're competing for this time. Ghostly and the rest discussed in low voices. Their voices were filled with hatred. Lin Xian smiled in disdain. He was too lazy to explain. In the next moment, the void trembled and Blood Rogue appeared. However, as soon as he appeared, his body swayed and he knelt on the ground, vomiting blood. What? He's injured. How is that possible? Why is he so severely injured? Nangong Hao, Yuluosha, Ghostly, and the rest were shocked. They originally thought that Lin Xian was just lucky to win, because he was competing in something that Blood Rogue was not good at. However, it seemed that was not the case. Looking at Bloodhand's appearance, it was as if he had gone through a huge battle. They could not believe that Blood Rogue's injuries were caused by Lin Xian Blood Rogue. Impossible. Why was Bloodhand injured by that brat? Course. Lin Xian reached out and grabbed it. He immediately felt a very pure energy contained within. That's the mysterious crystal? Lin Xian raised his eyebrows in surprise. However, he did not absorb it. Instead, he kept it in his storage ring. Seeing this, Nangong Hao, Ghostly, Yuluosha, and the rest narrowed their eyes. Then their breathing became heavy. He did not absorb it. Everyone's heart pounded wildly. Their eyes burned with passion. If they had obtained it, they would have absorbed it immediately to increase their strength in preparation for the next battle. But Huang Xiaolong did not absorb it at all. Instead, he kept it. This meant that Huang Xiaolong's strength would not increase. This gave them great hope. There were a total of 3 rounds in this competition. In other words, as long as they worked together to suppress Lin Xian in the remaining 2 rounds, there was still a chance for them to obtain the white crystal. Moreover, as long as they obtained the white crystal, they would immediately absorb it, and their strength would increase by a large margin. After the Octadic Treasures chess game, they could even capture Lin Xian and take the mysterious crystal and blood soul stone from his storage ring. Thinking of this, everyone began to tremble with excitement. Lin Xian saw their expressions and sneered. The reason why he did not immediately consume the mysterious crystal was that he was very doubtful. This was because the effect of the improvement was too shocking. Nangong Hao, Bloodhand, and the others were still small martial artists in the spirit-transforming realm half a year ago. However, after absorbing the mysterious crystal, they directly reached the 9th heaven of the venerable realm. The change could be said to be the difference between heaven and earth. Lin Xian had never heard of such a thing. Moreover, he could not guarantee that there would be no side effects after absorbing it. Therefore, He would wait until after the Octadic Treasures chess game and study it properly. As for these people, they wanted to snatch the mysterious crystal? That was simply impossible. Lin Xian was quite confident about that. In the next moment, a light flashed and everyone returned to their original positions. The second round began. The surrounding martial artists settled down again and watched carefully. However, their hearts were still in turmoil, because the result of the previous round was indeed beyond their expectations. They did not expect that the final winner would be Lin Xian. A guy who had only appeared 3 days ago actually defeated Nangong, Hao and the other geniuses to win first place. 3 days ago, they would not believe that someone would discuss such a thing. But now it really happened. In front, the second round of the Octadic Treasures chess game began. However, this time, everyone changed their strategy because they realized that no one was a match for Lin Xian in a one-on-one battle. Therefore, these people decided to join forces. Blood Hand and Feng Huti joined forces and formed a powerful attack that charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian quickly formed a seal with his palms. Immediately, a huge Cheongqi flew out from his fingertips and pounced forward, forcing the two of them back. What? The two of them were shocked. Impossible? How did he do it? Seeing this scene, everyone's scalps went numb. Nangong Hao, Blood Hand, and the others' faces were gloomy. Impossible. I don't believe it's not true. How can he be so powerful? These people counterattacked crazily. Outside the chessboard, the martial artists were even more shocked. Even the mysterious city lord who was hiding in the dark frowned. Impossible. This kid is obviously only at the 8th heaven, but his strength is far beyond Nangong Hao and the others. This doesn't make sense. What's going on with him? How can he have such powerful combat strength? The city lord frowned. He even began to suspect Lin Xian's identity. Soon the second round ended. Lin Xian still won first place and obtained another mysterious crystal. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.